Episode 2225 of Winners and Losers starts right now. I'm joined by the wonderful, well-known, somewhat well-known, maybe not known enough, depending on what country we're talking about, Dan Friesen, formerly of the Knowledge Fight podcast. And it pains my soul to use the word formerly, Dan. Dan, welcome.
Hey, Hank. How's it going?
Hi there, man.
Glad to be here. Not well known enough in Sweden.
So Dan and I have been surfing our egos a little bit here as we've been prepping.
That's because you pulled up on screen a Apple Podcasts page.
Oh, hold on. I'm the host. I'll start. Right. I'll get us into it. Dan has been on the show twice before. Check the description for links to those two other appearances. So it's awesome and deep dives into the demented minds of the one and only Dan Friesen. So yes, I wanted to show your new show, Show Me State of Mind. And we're 5 episodes in so far. I didn't realize you had a different feed. So I had only heard the one you'd posted on the Knowledge Fight, but I did.
I'm real bad at that shit.
Great.
I just put things out and then assume everyone will be like, oh, they'll figure it out.
Well, that seems to have worked. It seems to be okay. But I had, I just wanted to get some graphics on here, and I just searched for the show name, clicked on it, and it had weird words like Foji and hem and sock, knit, Topley store. And then Dan sees it and goes, only 3 reviews. Wait a minute. What language is that? What?
Well, no, I noticed the other language first, that it's clearly not the US website, that somehow you had done a quick Google and ended up on the Swedish iTunes page.
Which we're confident it's Swedish. SE is up here at the top. That's probably right.
I think so. Maybe not, though. It might be SLB.
I do have an urge to build a bookcase with an Allen wrench, so I think it probably is Swedish.
Yeah, those words are enticing you towards furniture and meatballs.
Yeah. And efficient lamps. So
I felt bad because at first, I mean, I didn't feel bad because it was in Swedish, but then I noticed that there's only 3 reviews, and I did feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
3 seems too low. I don't think I'm entitled to anything, but 3 seemed like real low.
Something was amiss in your conception of what would have been right.
Yeah.
So what would the threshold have been? 60? 200? Oh my God. Go ahead.
I think if we were in double digits, I wouldn't have reacted. Yeah. Like if it was 15 or 20, maybe I'd be like, all right, not everyone leaves a review. I can make peace with that. 3 was really low. And so it forced me to a crisis, and I looked up the American version of the website, and I'm a little higher there.
Yeah.
So I feel safe.
You confirmed. And so what do you think it is about that? It's fascinating to me that this information can trigger emotional cascades in our bodies and stuff, right? Like we are always communicating back and forth, and this like just the sight of photons from my machine through your machine, and then your ego generate, or it's not just ego, but then anyway, why is your ego involved in this? What are we doing? I think that was the dumbest question I've ever asked.
No, I think there's something. I think there's something behind it. I mean, I think like I'm in this like kind of transitional stretch where like obviously I'm keenly aware that the audience has gone down since Knowledge Fight into this new Show Me State of Mind show.
Yeah,
and like seeing that 3 was less like, hey, that number's low, and it's more like, oh, I have dropped off so much more than I thought. Like, I thought it was like a wet glove across the face, just like, get real. No one's listening. No one gives a shit.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. I think it's like, why are we doing this? What's your compulsion to say anything into a microphone, or to have done stand-up? Like you and I started out doing comedy in Chicago. I know you started in Missouri before that, but you moved to Chicago to do comedy. And I think right around the time I started doing comedy when I was living in Chicago, that's why we became friends before any of this started. I remember not really intending to talk you out, but you told me about your idea to do a show about Alex Jones. I was dropping you off. We were hanging out at Matt Riggs' place with Hogan and Fernandez and or one of those guys' apartments. And you're like, I'm
playing
gonna do
some poker probably.
Yeah, poker, some beer, maybe I was already sober by then. But anyway,
this guy sure wasn't.
No, I don't. I think I was actually because, yeah, I definitely was. It was really cold, and you told me about this Alex Jones idea you had, and I was like, that just sounds fucking just. What are you, like, why would you want to like mess with that hornet's nest? And so, in the spirit of hopefully helping your other show, your new show, Show Me State of Mind, become very successful, I'd just like to say I think it's a terrible idea. Don't do it.
Thank you.
You shouldn't try. Why would you want to mess with that? And now you've been inverse. You've been negatively cursed by me, so it'll be a runaway success.
That's all it's going to take. And thank you so much. That that anti-endorsement is it's huge.
Yes. The
kiss
of life.
I've gotten some of that response from people. Like I think that one of the pieces of this show is like trying to have a different image of Americana and a different like view of the country. And I think that rightly, there's so many people who have the perspective of like, why would you ever want to look at America positively? This place sucks. It's built on racism, slavery, exploitation, all that shit. Why would you ever want to have a positive relationship with it? And, in the same way that someone might say, why would you ever want to fucking talk about Alex Jones all the time? They're right. I get it. I get it. I'm exploring something. I don't know.
Right. Well, you're not doing propaganda on behalf of the United States. You're exploring the places and people. And from what I've heard, I've listened to the first episode. You're going around Illinois. There's a leaning building. Is that correct? In Niles, is my memory failing me?
Yeah, there's a leaning tower up there.
Yeah, wonderful.
It's crazy.
Right, with a church bell in or something. But yeah, you're not just like, look at September 11th. Shouldn't we get revenge? Everybody?
Well, I mean, the New York episode is coming out soon. So, like, you don't say that I'm not going to do that.
Revenge at 9/11 will be your...
I did a seance with Toby Keith's ghost, and we talked about putting a boot in someone's ass.
Yeah, yep. That's right. An American Eagle, it will set everything correctly. That's a fair criticism. I think feeling a little bit sour on the country is understandable, particularly as, I've been already well over this threshold for some time, but learning that you're realizing how much you were propagandized about the history of the country when you're a child is something that not everybody realizes in adulthood. I definitely have been through that kind of. Is that a looking glass that you go through?
Yeah, and I think you do it multiple times. Like I think that there's degrees of it that like we're all learning creatures. So like as you learn more, you realize like, oh, the last time I looked in the looking glass, I saw some stuff, but there's even more, and it's worse than I thought.
Yeah,
or a little different than I thought. I think that criticism is totally fair, and I'm not saying it to be like that is like an unfair response, but I can't do anything about it.
Sure. Right. Well, like the concept of patriotism, for instance, is something I think about a lot. And speaking of that early childhood indoctrination, other countries don't do the Pledge of Allegiance. Like maybe one or two other sociopathic, totalitarian nightmare society does, and as is America. But like brainwashing children with belligerent nationalism, loyalty to a symbol over all else. And then they added God to it as well in the 50s. I think there's a lot of dividends are paid out in that, and a lot of invisible but powerful dividends are paid out in the way the certain people, not everybody, because it's going to affect people differently. Obviously, there's a distribution, but some sort of whatever defensiveness people have about defending the country, and they feel patriotism is the act of fighting against somebody who's criticizing the country. You don't like it, get out. You don't like it, you want cheap health care, go to Canada or go to 140 other countries or whatever it is. But you talk. I forgot. I lost my.
Well, my hope is to like not ever endorse that kind of patriotism, but at the same time, like, there's not like there's no way that I can undo living in this country my whole life and having a relationship with it, And so there's a part of me that just wants to explore that and explore all these like weird parts of it, the regional differences, and like, just not hate. I hate patriotism. I hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I hate this country. And I want to find out, I want to know more about why I think that or why I feel that way.
I feel this is what I remembered I was going to say. I feel patriotic about people, not places, not especially not a country. A country is an abstract concept. It lives very presently in our lives, but in America is I think a tragedy for the world that a country as powerful America held its position that it had as one of the, but probably the most successful of the colonialist projects. Although you could argue there's, not that it's a competition. We're not trying to put disaster scenarios on the podium here, but like when I think about all the people that this country has hurt, all the beautiful people who live here, who work their butts off and who deserve better and look out for each other and survive tough circumstances and, do what needs to get done to get by but all the ways that we've been propagandized into, especially hyper individualism, I think is one of the most odious things that maintains the status quo that keeps us all down. But I feel very patriotic about people. That's actually what animates a lot of my politics. Like, especially this is one of my themes. Any new listeners, by the way, welcome. One of my main things is child abuse. Like how fucked up it is. I think that's actually one of the core pillars of the maladaptive derangements that permeates politics and business and adulthood, people's throughout their entire lives is childhood trauma. And there are various vectors for that, but one of the main ones is just from people from their own parents and their own dysregulated family structures. I have the history of my family. It's one of the sort of things that sent me from kind of like progressive, that's not the phrase, but from like a devoted progressive to sort of understanding the world through more like a socialist lens and like a, international solidarity type of like mindset, was asking like, why were both my grandparents pieces of shit? Why was my dad's dad and my mom's dad, why were they both like horrible men who hurt their own children in ways that should warrant severe, horrible punishment? You know what I mean? Like, and yet that kind of stuff was so normalized, and even the benign form of traumas that and benign is in quotes here, such as your parents have to work all the fucking time and they can't be home, they can't be available, they can't be present with their families and with their kids. So
yeah, for sure. And it's interesting to me the way that you think like you would express that as patriotism. Like I don't think that that's wrong or inappropriate. It's just not the way, not the word I would associate there, but like it is kind of a solidarity is a patriotism among people in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I try not to look at it too much like I love the people, hate the entity, because I think even down that road for me leads to anger or something. I think that there are a lot of places that have like people in them and are unique, and there's a value in celebrating that. And that's somewhat a patriotism of people. The people are what make the place special,
You can't tell a story about people without talking about place. We're kind of intertwined with that. But country is a place, but it's a whole different sort of construct of a place. So yes, I think you could honor places by what or maybe you can probably explain it better than I can, but your new show is about, as you said, talking about people by going to places, though. You're not just doing the places, it seems to me. You're interviewing friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to take some sort of inspiration either from a friend or from listeners will recommend places that have a unique character that I may have heard of, I may not have. And then I go try and experience that and talk to them about what it is about that place. And it's we're only 5 episodes in, but it's already become much different than I anticipated it was going to be. I thought it would be a little bit more jackassery and a little bit more. The first episode is fairly trivial and kind of like there's a lot of quirk and that kind of shit in it. And I think as I went along, I realized that I was experiencing things that deserved a little bit more respect and a little bit more there was a deeper level I could take something to. And so as I've gone along, I'm trying to respect that and not like shortchange the experiences.
It'd be weird if you weren't evolving quickly as a producer, because it's an experimental kind of thing anyway. You have the vocal chops, you have we got a car. I assume, what year is your car?
I got a 2017 Subaru Outback.
Wonderful.
Only got about 50,000 miles on it. So
wow. Good for you.
Yeah, it was sitting in my friend's parents' garage for quite a while.
Oh man.
And so I got lucky on that front.
That's like just before screens took over, kind of, right? Before you got knobs and buttons, or you
still got a screen. We still got a screen, but it's an early.
My 2012 Prius with leather seats has a small screen, and it's a touch screen, but it's a physical. You have to give it a.
I've got to put a little effort into the press. This is the first. Like I haven't had a.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I haven't had a car since I was like before I moved to Chicago.
Yeah.
And so this is the first one that has like a rear view mirror camera on it, and like that freaked me out for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Like I've had to get used to it.
They pull you over when you drive backwards down the highway.
Not in some cities.
Freedom, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's the camera for then, dude? Yeah. I have that too on my 2012 Prius with leather seats. It's awesome. I love the backup camera. We went out of our way to, it's wonderful.
It's a cool innovation, but it felt like Star Trek. Like when I first got into it.
The screens I'm referring to are the panel screens and the giant ugly iPad, which are like design choices they make to save money, because screens are cheaper than the knobs and the builds and all the little doodads. But it frustrates people. It's turning your AC on with a fucking slider on a screen.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm not in for that.
Yeah.
My hope now is to eventually get an RV. And I think I would like to live more mobily and more out and about. But it's a process. These things they develop over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your first one was Santa, Christmas, Indiana or something. Wasn't that that was just a trip that I took. Okay.
That was I don't know how much of it was hoping to find something really silly to get excited about.
Yeah.
To annoy Jordan and bring some kind of mirth to the knowledge fight. But I also felt the desire for road trips. Yeah, so I went to Santa Claus, Indiana, and that fucking sucked. That place, no disrespect to anybody from Santa Claus, but that place is a dump.
No doubt. One would assume.
It was the first time that I'd been out and about and like really discovered something that someone was like, hey, that's probably a sundown town. Not Santa Claus itself, but like right outside of town.
Right.
And like it just, there's a wonderful lake in Santa Claus and you couldn't get to it. Like it was closed off by like the development, the housing. Like there was a guard tower to get to the only road that goes to the lake.
Right.
And it just felt like this sucks. This sucks shit. This is exactly the opposite of what I want to see. But I'm glad I saw it, I guess, because it would bum me out.
You jumped into the nearest catapult and just launched yourself over like the hero you are of road trip journalists.
I wish. I just turned around. It was a guard tower that had like a Santa Claus statue outside of it. I was like, nah, that's too dissonant. That scares me.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of does sum up capitalism, American capitalism in a sense. Yeah. The god of capitalism, where we force children to sit on his lap and beg for gifts, beg for his approval in the form
of how you interpret
consumerism.
You interpret it as begging?
Well, submitting to an authority.
There is a submission to it.
Based on your behavior. Yeah.
Do you believe that Santa could say no?
No, because Santa wants that profit. He wants the transaction.
But that means he's incentivized to say yes. But I believe and did believe as a kid that Santa couldn't say no. If I sat on his lap and asked him for something, he doesn't have the freedom to say no. So it wasn't begging. It was kind of a demand that I was making.
Delivering an order. Yeah. So
I was exploiting his connection to capitalism.
right. That's a strong position for a child to be in. Yeah, that's a very advantaged place. All you got to do is sit on some old man's boner at the mall. That's
right.
Yeah, horrible. Ugh.
It's a good thing they vetted those guys real strongly.
Yeah, that's funny. We would have a guy come by my grandma's house and dressed up as Santa, some big guy, and I never even learned who it was. Maybe it was the real one for all I know. And I sniffed out that Santa was fake by noticing the arm hair poking out between his cuff, the white suit, the white cuff of the red sleeve, and his wrist hair was like dark, like man hair dark. And I was like, that's not. I was like, Santa has white hair. And I go, your hair's not white. You're not Santa. And then I jumped off his lap and I told him, yeah.
That's a tough moment.
I was a smart kid, man. I was a fucking sleuth. You can't get bullshit past me.
Wow.
I told Santa to his face he was fucking fake, and then I never believed in anything ever since.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's cynical. But probably correct. I mean, definitely correct in the Santa front. But
I would say it would have been awkward if I was wrong. So let me share this real quick. I just want to show my reviews after 16 years of podcasting. 18 reviews.
It's better than 3.
4.9. So I'm already doing better than Show Me State of Mind here in Sweden, where there's 3. And why
don't you check out your views in Sweden?
All right, let's do it. Let's go. Let's see what I got. Do you think it'll be bigger than 3?
I don't know.
None. I got
none. Oh, the rank disrespect of all my Swedish listeners out there. Go review Hank's winners and losers.
Come on, Senast and fucking, I don't know. I'm talking diarrhea. I'm talking Jack Reacher. I shared the good news about my leg wound. So, go ahead.
I think we got lucky early on that we had a listener who was from Sweden named Sonia who reached out to us, and we thought it was so funny that someone in Sweden was listening to our show that we brought up Sonia from Sweden a lot. And I think that might have expanded a Swedish base.
Could be. It's a stronghold.
Yeah.
So do you have, while I was thinking about you coming on and with Knowledge Fight ending, and I do want to get back to some places we want to visit, by the way. I don't have a ton in here, and then we'll jump over to some Alex Jones talking and Young Turk stuff in a little bit. But, your show had such a big impact on people, as I've noticed from looking at Reddit and seeing just the responses on Twitter even, and it turns up in chats. And I of course, am extremely jealous of your success, but particularly your success without YouTube. You didn't involve fucking video in this whole process. So,
well, we thought about it for a bit. I mean, and we tried. I just don't. Yeah, it just never really fit. Like, I think that there's still some videos that exist of us doing the show early on. I don't know where they are, but someone's mirrored them somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's just like we were chain smoking, and like it felt ugly for us to look at ourselves on video. We probably would have done it if we just didn't dislike looking at constantly.
Yeah, or try having your beard falling out, and I feel terrible. Yeah, I hate the way I look.
I've now made peace with the fact that I'm just going to vape all the time.
Yeah, just going to pull on your magic little fairy poop box, the little souls of ancient elves and fairies tucked into.
Yeah,
good. Is that
I found an orange Tic Tac flavor one.
Oh, those are the best. Those a little bit gritty. I love biting down on one, and then you get exuberant, and suddenly the whole package is gone.
Yeah,
those are delicious.
I was deflecting a little bit from your point about the influence.
Oh no, I know.
I think we were super lucky, and it since the show's ended, a lot of that has really been driven home. Like how what we made wasn't just like a stupid show. There's a lot that people took away from it, and it's humbling.
Right. Yeah. Years had gone by. What has it been? 9 years? You guys did it for 9 years, roughly. And I wasn't really a listener up until about 3 years ago. We drifted apart. I had my own issues here. I was dealing with in LA. And then, you know, I start hearing more Knowledge Fight. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's Dan's show. I got to get in touch, see what Dan's up to. And then I see more, you guys turn up on Majority Report and you're on CNN. And it's like, what the fuck? I didn't realize that. My brother's a giant fan. Of course, he was thrilled. I think if I wanted to hang out with him again, I'd have to involve you. I need to
We
get
got
you.
lunch when you guys were in town. I met your brother.
That was great. Yeah. It was like a thrill for him to talk to a guy he likes.
To hobnob with a celebrity.
Hobnob with a big wig in a dingy Chicago bar.
Yeah.
But you know, I doubt you spend a lot of time on Reddit looking at the Knowledge Fight subreddit, but I occasionally search for Young Turks stuff on there, although I didn't pull it up just today. I meant to, but sometimes people talk about TYT, and since I'm doing the documentary, you know, obviously I'm saying that so the audience knows that I'm doing it. For people that aren't familiar, go to tellthetruthjank.com about unionizing the Young Turks for the documentary I'm making. And my listeners are so sick of hearing that, but that's because we might have some new people. But someone even talked about the TYT union busing situation, and they referred to my appearance on the Leftist Mafia, where I went on in 2025. That's an online show here on YouTube. With a pretty good sized audience, and they actually described me as ADHD AF, which I really appreciated.
Wait, so the people on the subreddit or the Leftist Mafia guys?
On the subreddit. They were referring,
okay.
They were saying, there was a guy who from the union story that was on. They were just like telling someone else about me, my appearance, and then they just said, they liked what I said, but they said ADHD AF. And
you know, there's a part of that that's ableist. Maybe that's inappropriate of them, but I think they probably meant it with love.
No, they did, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't poorly intentioned. In fact, I take it as a formal diagnosis, considering how hard it is to get a proper medical care. Because I am self-diagnosed autistic and ADHD, and these are two things that I am very, very confident about. If I ever can pull it together enough to, you know, attain formal assessment, I'm very confident. But
you've convinced me.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but
I convince people they're autistic. That's how convincing I am. And but that particular appearance, I didn't really mean to get into this too much, but I was like hyper as fuck during that show because I was tired. Now it was like a big deal for me to go on there. And I'd spent the last like 36 hours sprint editing a trailer and creating a GoFundMe and writing everything. And I'd already had it sort of, you know, but I needed it done. You know what I mean? So I was working like furiously to get the GoFundMe ready and the trailer ready. And I really worked hard, and even tried to start a website in the middle of it. I emailed a couple people.
You're in the crunch.
I was crunching, and it was a waste of time to try to do a website. I just thought I could get a link up or something, but it was still a stupid mistake because what I didn't do is give myself like 30 minutes, 40, like an hour, take a walk, catch my gather my bearings, slow down a little bit. So because I was exhausted, I was too tired to mask how hyper I am actually. That's where the kind of ADHD-ness sort of becomes more apparent. I think it's probably pretty obvious people watch my show and stuff, but the ADHD, the autistic ADHD combo is a fairly common of the three sort of definitional things, although ADHD is somewhat distinct from autism. But I appreciated your listener for diagnosing me. Good people.
Or sensing it.
I loved it. I was flattered.
I think it's interesting that you're like, you were too exhausted to be able to mask stuff. Because it takes me back to like when I was much more of a drinker. I would always think that I was way more funny when I was hungover because I was in so much pain and like just trying to get through it, that I had a Ricklesy kind of quickness and sharpness to me in it. I don't think I was right, but you're probably right.
Well,
it's different.
It's not. It's different, but you were of depleted resources when you're hungover.
I couldn't afford to be nice or something. You know,
you
like
didn't have the energy to put people's comfort above yours as much.
Yeah,
that's more or less what it is. Like I describe masking as autistic masking, particularly, although there's a masking that ADHD people do as well. But as conforming to an authenticity that isn't yours. So fitting into the group, trying to fit into the group. It's not a conscious thing, but it's a way of exercising a degree of agency over the frictions that you've experienced from having social dysregulation and social disability.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I've always been very hyper aware, and I think when sorry, I'm jumping ahead of my thought there. I've always been very hyper aware of group dynamics, of who's been introduced to who in the group, and this and that, and I've never really naturally fit in. I've always had a hard time feeling like I belonged, and so when I do get that feeling, it always felt very rare and kind of important and special and comforting, and because I like people, I like being around people, I like talking to people, I'm a good listener, for instance. But doing stand up though is the only time in my life where I felt like I fit in anywhere with any kind of way, even though I was struggling with alcoholism and undiagnosed autism, ADHD, and
but so was everyone else.
I know, so that's why I fit in, because we're all
everyone else was denying their problems too.
Yeah,
and sublimating them into booze and stage time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and driven by creativity, but driven by the positive stuff. It's not just negative positive. It's just your extra. There's just more. There's extra going on in there, and then sometimes there's not so much extra, and it's just creates all kinds of complications.
Yeah.
Justice sensitivity and all that. So anyway, how do you feel now that it's been a few months? I was saying that I was a little bit worried you might not even want to talk about it. Not that you're like, oh no, don't, Hank, it's too much. But the
wound's too fresh, my friend.
Well, like did you have to detox? How is it going from watching Alex Jones as much as you were and really ingesting it far more than anybody else, including anyone who's ever worked for Alex Jones, and then regurgitating it?
Regurgitating
to not doing that.
I never regurgitated.
Well,
I feel like I filtered it like a kidney or something.
Feeding baby birds, like healthy regurgitation.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that. It did, things had the appearance of a fairly abrupt end, and so I went from preparing episodes to not pretty quickly. And I will say that I did need to detox and be away from Alex a bit, in the sense that, like, why would I listen to this? I'm not making anything of it.
Right.
I don't feel like I'm not obsessed with him in a way that I think that many people might assume. I think there may have been periods earlier on where you could have maybe made that argument, but I didn't feel the need to watch it for like non-work purposes by the time things wrapped up. But as time has gone on since then, I'm still active in my process and in therapy and analysis of self, and I miss it terribly. Like, I miss that kind of content and work terribly. I went on a show, I don't know if you've heard of I Hate Bill Maher, but he hates Bill Maher.
Sounds like it.
And it was, it reignited, or not reignited, but like it reminded me of like, man, I fucking love talking about bad content put out by shitheads. And like, I think, I had a break from it, and I can't imagine being away from it for like super long stretches. Like, there's something really, in the same way that you love talking about jank and all kinds of other people who are ill actors, like, I don't know. I
myself that beat, of kind of that sort of stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it would disappear or like dissipate, and I doing this new Show Me State of Mind, I thought like, well, this is a lot of work. This is gonna expend whatever energy I have. And it does scratch an itch in terms of, I love to create things and I love to put things out, but like, fuck, I have not gotten back to any regularity of like observing Alex and like any of that. But I can't say that it's going to be long term. I may be back on that before too long.
Oh, well, okay.
I may
like alert the signal fires. Yes, I hear you. Like there's what do you miss? Like, do you miss the camaraderie? You miss the prep, the sort of like the build up and then the show and then the come down. I mean, kind of there was a rhythm you were doing, because you did 1,000+ episodes. Can you pin that down, or is it just some other nebulous thing?
It's partially like I think there's a skill that I have that I don't realize that I have, which is being able to take that information and package it in a way that people can take some information and some form of comfort from. I don't realize that everyone does not have that set of skills, so I undervalue it. And I think like, well, if I'm not doing it, who cares? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But stopping doing it, the outcry, but like the people who have expressed what the show meant, I realized that I there is a skill there, and it's something I'd like to I like to find the stories within the lies of those folk. And yeah, I don't know. I don't it's very nebulous. It's very vague, and but there's an itch that covering that kind of content scratched that I is not being scratched by maybe anything else.
And with the itch isn't necessarily Alex himself or InfoWars or whatever, but it's the uncovering kind of the coming back out of the cave with like more context for people to help people see bigger pictures. At least that's how I sort of took in the show, that it was really a lens for understanding right-wing misinformation.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lack of approach, generally speaking, to like I don't think people balance well a sense of empathy. With let me this is hard to express.
Sure.
I think a lot of people who try to look at this type of content with an semi-empathetic lens, they end up falling into traps of like both sides, and like, hey, let's reach across the aisle. Let's we're all the same. I think they fall into that trap too much. And like I miss living in that space of like, no, this is unacceptable. These are unacceptable views, but let's not treat it like it doesn't exist. Let's empathize with it as something that exists, and people do hold these beliefs. And I miss being able to sort of exist in that space.
Right. It functions as a part of an ecosystem. Is that fair to kind of say? Like it plays a role in an information environment that is related to this country we're supposed to be patriotic about, and misleads a lot of people.
Yeah, and I thought that, I felt like the amount of importance or whatever that we had was probably not as high as it was. And not to say that we're the most important thing that's ever existed, but like,
right,
people cared, and I appreciate that.
It drove a lot of people loyally. That's a weird way to say that, but people, you garnered loyalty from the work, the consistency, obviously being a major component in that as well. Something I've learned over my years of barely podcasting while saying I podcast. I was always so impressed with that. Like I just talking to some guy the other day who I know I mentioned Knowledge Fight, and he's like, "Oh, I love that show. I was going to go to one of the live shows." I was like, "I got his number, bitch. I got his fucking number, bitch." And I showed it. Yeah.
Did a little dance.
Yep.
Now that guy's got my number.
No, it was one of my other enemies. Yeah. So, okay. So Detox still going to probably need some time to process this new show. I hope you took lots of weeks off. Did you just like find some edibles and play video games for like a month?
I played a fair amount of video games, but
yeah.
I don't like time off necessarily.
Right.
I find myself, you remember that book, The Phantom Toll Booth?
Oh, no, but sure.
It's a children's book. Anyway, there's an area called the doldrums where if you they encourage you to slow down, and then you end up stuck in molasses and you can't move. There's a lot of like dumb puns and metaphors that are literalized in the book.
Molasses is famous for trapping people and preventing them from moving, unlike quicksand, which was fake.
Yeah. Wait, what? It's fake?
No, I joke. But that's the thing people say is I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger role in adulthood when I was a kid. Turns out it's the molasses doldrums. I'm trying to be funny and I'm failing.
Well, my point is that I find myself in that if I take too
Yeah.
much time off, or if I find myself reverting to like real lazy, let's not get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
So I played a fair amount of video games. I tried to escape
Which
into that.
games? Which games? Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, I played that back in the day. I never got
Master.
into the online stuff, but
Yeah.
I know people say it's great.
Masterpiece.
Um,
Yeah.
I played, I think, I can't remember the exact time frame, but I think I played the new Resident Evil game.
Relaxing.
I beat that.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but I would play like a fair amount of like Diablo,
Sure.
just like kind of
Yeah.
mindless, go and like attack big hordes of enemies.
Click on a thing and it goes away.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. No, you deserve that after all that time. And it's not like, there's a difference between the doldrums and then just like a brief recovery period. But like, you're kind of like me, I think, where as much as I crave like stepping off this treadmill that I'm on, because it's not really going anywhere, I can't really, I really only feel okay when I'm busy doing something, when I keep my attention focused on something, when I have a project. I do gaming on Suck Professor, my video game channel. And it's really just a way for me to justify playing games and talking. It's kind of just podcasting while playing
Yeah.
games.
I mean,
And
if you think about it, what is this show me state of mind kind of thing, other
yeah,
than I do enjoy travel, but I could never do it as a vacation relaxing thing because that's not what I do anyway. So
right.
what is it but a rationalization for making, some work out of a travel?
Yeah, yeah. So how many hours go? I mean, are you planning really far ahead with this show? Are you? I mean, are you kind of winging it? What's your? Are you figuring that all out right now? You have to
I'm
arrange guests. You have to book hotels. It's not
it's
super.
it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process that I'm learning. I intended before I launched the show, I intended to be like way ahead because it's like, well, one episode of this is going to take forever to record and plan and all in the way that Knowledge Fight took a lot of work and prep for each episode, but not on this scale. I can't it just realistically takes X amount of hours to get somewhere, like
Yeah.
that's just time that's going to be sunk. So like I wanted to be like pretty far ahead, but I have lost a lot of that lead time, and I think I like it better without a ton of lead time.
Mm.
So I'm experimenting and learning, sometimes you can get a hotel, sometimes you can sleep in the car, sometimes I I think that there's a certain charm to, or I hope there is to, like, I fail some of the times on these trips.
Yeah.
Like, I went to West Virginia and I tried to go to a radio museum, and it was closed on the day that I went. So I drove 2 hours out of the way to go there,
Right.
and I think there's something funny about leaving that in an episode. Like, I'm failing at traveling. Eh,
I like
so
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a process.
It's a gift you could react. It's part of the story that you're telling, because it's you. The people that are listening are vicariously experiencing it through you, and you're already sort of established voice in their heads. You're like Rick Steves if he didn't suck.
And the honest thing is, I'm kind of dumb sometimes too. So like, I think that the ability to plan things out quite a bit in Knowledge Fight and like have all of this material in front of me to present, like, I think it gives an undue version of myself that like people think that I have a lot more poise than I do. But no, I might go off half cocked and just drive towards this thing, not knowing if it's open.
Right.
That's the kind of spirit I have sometimes.
I think that's good from just a production standpoint too. You don't have to be super dialed in on everything being perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's weird. And I think that in the same way I said that the show's changed a bit since I even started, like 5 episodes from now, who knows what like I'm going to have learned and be like, well, I got to do better on that. I have to, I
Yeah.
have to, I can't go all the way to like Maryland for no reason. I have to at least have gotten an episode out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Drink a glass of Chesapeake Bay water or something when you get there, and then have dysentery and die of it by the time you get home.
It could have a death battle between the Chesapeake Bay water and the lettuce.
There you go. Yes.
See which wins.
Yeah. See if you can get that diarrhea, get the dry diarrhea to combat the wet diarrhea, and then gets back to. All right, that's fun. Yeah. So where are you? Do you have a goal? So show me is the Missouri state slogan. Is that where this comes from?
Yeah.
What are they trying to get shown? Who do they want to be shown, or they want someone to show them something? Because that phrase is not very accurate.
I don't know. It was the motto of the state where I grew up, and I don't think they ever explained it.
Well,
no one ever told me.
On one hand, you should bring Missouri to people, like someone from Missouri, and be like, "Look, I'm showing you," or it's more like bring something here and show me a wooden duck or a weird baseball card.
Well, the way that I conceptualized it in the first episode was that, like, I like to be shown things.
Yeah.
So people can show me things in states and around the country. But I don't think that center isn't going to hold, like, in terms of a premise. And I think the name may be less relevant as it goes along, except for that I'm someone from Missouri, and that's not going to change.
Sure.
But, like, I put it out, and then the next day, someone, not just one person, a number of people informed me that there's another podcast that is like a Missouri mental health podcast that's called Show Me State of Mind. I'm like, God damn it. I didn't Google that.
I saw it on the apps this morning when I looked it up. I was like, oh, there's already, okay. He's the second one down.
I got the URL and I thought there can't possibly be something called this if the URL is available.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. That should be an exclusive thing. If you get the URL, you get the podcast name. And obviously, the more important detail is the state of mind part of this. That's kind of I would almost describe it as like cozy travel. Like you're especially with your friends and stuff and people you know and you're talking to, and you're not trying to showcase the best sushi restaurant or the hit attraction or something. It's about your kind of curiosity being kind of manifested through physical travel and actually moving around, but then weaving it together with the story.
Yeah, and I hope that it's not always like crazy cozy. Like I think some of the episodes past the first one that you've listened to, some of it gets a little bit challenging, but never to like the point of discomfort. And I hope for there to be more deeper things and more universal things than like me talking to my friend about a trip, but like.
Right.
I also don't want, like, knowledge fight. We covered Alex Jones, so whatever garbage he's talking about is now the content of our show, and that's kind of disgusting. And I don't want this to have that. So it's never going to be like. I don't want to be exploitative of some of the negative things that I could go travel to. That would just be about like, here's where there was a massacre or something like that. Like that's.
There's got to be that out there, right? Like true crime, like with travel.
I'm sure.
It's such a big genre, true crime.
Yeah, and I don't think that those things shouldn't be talked about, but I certainly don't want it to be like everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, and it does get exploitative pretty quick.
Yeah,
and I didn't mean cozy as in boring or in indulgent of the listener's time, but like you're showcasing your POV, almost like you're like a magazine writer. Back in the 70s when you could spend 6 months being like, Egypt is like this, and then like that's your living,
There was a book
got a hot wife. Man, must be nice.
My brother gave me this book when I was younger called Westward Ho or Westward Ha. I can't remember, but it's by S.J. Perlman, who was a humorist of the times, and
I could tell
it's about him going to like Japan and China and Egypt and all over with Hirschfeld, his animator, and it's very influential in terms of some of the ways that I wish the world still was, like when you could get on a steamer and it would be like, oh, I don't know. I guess it's a trade-off. It's good that travel is accessible to a lot more people, but there's something kind of funny about a time when like you could go on a 6-month sabbatical or whatever.
Letters were how you kept in touch with people. And there's that Frank Sinatra song where he comes home and lights the home fires. Nobody be lighting their home fires. They be flipping the light switch.
Yeah. And there was a time when I
go down to the boiler.
you
Go
can
ahead.
have more of a like unreliable narrator in stories about travel.
Yeah.
And I think that uh that's there's a fun humor that can be in there.
Are you planning to do every state? Do you have like that kind of completionist streak in you
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit?
I'm
Okay.
I'm intending to. My goal is to do a year and it'd be
Yeah.
every state and then 2 international episodes. I'm
Okay.
hoping that I can do that.
Once a
And
week? That's a
yeah,
lot. One a week is tough. That's a tough schedule for that amount of.
it is.
So,
I have
yeah.
I'm ahead of the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a cushion,
It's almost
but
like you
yeah,
could use an
it's
experienced editor who you trust to help you out.
nah, I'm
Hmm.
good.
You obviously haven't seen my work.
This guy's
Uh,
too expensive. I know who you're talking about.
I'm not expensive. So I just want to eat and live indoors. So how about when you come to California? Now, I'm not saying you should go here, but one of the things that I noticed when I was visiting the John Muir Park, here I have it up here, the Muir Woods National Monument. This is close to San Francisco, so it's kind of like the more urban Redwoods Park. Anybody who has never seen the Redwoods, just a plug, setting aside whether Dan goes there for a show. I mean, California, you could do a million episodes about California, but and Oregon and stuff. But the Redwoods, anybody who ever visits the West Coast and has a chance to see the sequoias and the redwood trees, they're just freaking amazing. Just
Yeah,
humbling.
you can see pictures and it doesn't really do it
Yeah.
in terms of the feeling of
Yeah.
being next to something that big.
The dimensionality of those trees you don't get it until you're in them. And so this one is like a really controlled space because it's right in the, like just north of San Francisco. But there's a whole bunch of other like tracks of redwoods up further north, along the coast up. And when I drove from Seattle to LA years ago, I stopped off at some of them and just pulled over and walked around. And it was like, man, you feel like you're on a whole nother planet. It's unbelievable stuff. But at this Muir Woods, there is a sculpture of a guy that's John Muir. Although there's probably colonialists like, oh, this great man helped save this place, but they probably had to murder a bunch of people to like make it in a place without people, But nevertheless, I won't just assume the worst. And this fellow, with his big bushy beard, let's presume he also has a deep radio-ready voice. There was a sculpture that jumped out at me when I was there, and I sent you a picture of it way back.
Yeah.
We don't have the picture today, but I was like, that's my buddy Dan, and I haven't talked to him in years, but I'm right by a weird wooden carving of him, and I need to see this. And, I just wanted to maybe consider this, go to the California woods. And so I got on Google to try to find the sculpture, and I couldn't, but there is one of a bear. So I would just say let's just say
And me and that
that's
bear have a lot in common too, I think.
Yeah. You got a lot of back hair?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just like a bear?
Suit. I think that like a lot of times when people will say, "Hey, I saw this thing that looks like you," it usually ends up not being too flattering or accurate. But I do recall getting that text from you and thinking like, that does look a lot like me.
It really did.
Yeah. And I don't know. I have a passion for nature. I like conservation, so I don't mind the idea of maybe I'm him reincarnated. Although you do bring up a good point about there's probably a fair amount of, anyone who is alive in those times probably has done some dicey shit.
And it might not even be he was the perpetrator, but a generation or two before him may have been the part where the people got erased, or whatever, however that works.
Almost certainly.
And it's not, maybe you'll find out that it's not true, and perhaps he was one of the good ones. Let's say that's also a possibility. I don't want to just presume, but every time I learn about something with American history, there's always like, actually, there was a whole bunch of horrible, racist, terrible colonialist extraction violence going on.
I find that's always the case, or something like way sillier than you could imagine. Like there's like some sort of intense mania that someone had that drove them to do something. Like that seems to exist in a lot of places.
It does seem so. And how could you not feel that for the redwoods and for wanting to preserve these types of places? I mean, I'm speaking without knowing, but the logging industry and the rapacious need for resources and the virgin forests, the old growth forests and stuff. That very little of that remains, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've
Sucks.
already seen the redwoods, I guess.
Almost all of my family lives in California, like
Oh,
extended family. And so
okay.
we would take vacations to visit them. And it's been a long time since I've seen the redwoods, but we went when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this was the shot. Here, look, someone put a little Star Trek bear.
Oh, look at that little
Yeah.
Ewok.
A little Ewok with a couple of soldiers too, whatever those guys are.
It's fun.
Rebel guys. Would you adopt an Ewok? Do you think you could handle a pet?
You know what? I was recently got into a bit of a SNL hole. I was watching some old SNL videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to say I'm in a Catan phase, and
Oh,
Mr. Peepers. I would adopt Mr. Peepers. That would be
is he the guy who eats the apple?
yeah.
Oh, really?
And yep.
Oh,
And stomps around, and
yeah.
yeah. No Ewok, but I'd take Mr. Peepers.
Right. I think I heard Chris Kattan had some horrible back injury from a stunt on SNL. Like early in his career, he ended up like doing something really physical, but he took a bad hit and he was plagued by this back problem his whole life.
I bet that's true. Like if you go back and you watch, I was never like a huge SNL person,
Mm-hmm.
but I've dipped back into some of that stuff, and he is like he's on another level. He's fucking insane. The
Okay.
physicality and the ability that he has is like, you know me, I'm not a huge laugher.
No.
I'm blurt laughing watching this guy dance around the stage and jump around. It's
All
great.
right. Okay. He's tapping into something bigger than just the mere physical.
I think so.
Spiritual
I
transcendence.
think God had to give him that back injury because he would have been too powerful otherwise. Like
Yeah.
other comics and performers wouldn't have stood a chance.
Not at all. Not at all. I think that might have been the statue. I don't know. I'm trying to find another one of these John Muir statues, but who cares? People know what you look like. They're looking at you right now. So just
Yeah.
imagine a wooden version of Dan, everybody. And
Sure, it's in your text somewhere.
I could have looked that up, but then you got to copy it off the phone.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
What am I?
But
Rick
yeah, no.
Steves?
Look, you thought it looked like me, and I'm telling people, yeah, I thought it looked like me too. So hey, take our word for it.
It felt like you. I put a pair of khaki pants on it, and I put a cigarette in its mouth just to feel like we were doing open mics.
Hell yeah.
That's right. So
I've started wearing shorts, by the way. So
oh really?
Yeah,
how's that
pretty
feeling
big
for you?
It's all right.
What was the
feel
first?
free.
What was the first time outside with shorts?
It was like maybe 6 months ago. No, wait, that can't be right because that was winter. Whenever it started getting warm, I just decided, hey, fuck it, let's show these calves off. And I've been feeling great about it. I don't know why it took me till 42 to have peace with
Yeah.
it. I think we did so much stand up, and people get kind of assholish to you if you wear shorts. It's a little disrespectful on a stage, so
yeah.
I just started never wearing shorts.
Why is that? Because I agree. I feel like if I see a comic and he's wearing shorts or they're wearing shorts, I'm like, put on some fucking pants. What are you doing? Why are you wearing shorts?
I think old school guys have that like respect for show business thing that like you got to wear pants. But then also like if the stage is too elevated, you can kind of see up someone's pants if they're wearing the right shorts. And I think that is uncomfortable. So some of it might be that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something along those lines. Yeah, because I'm not real big on that sort of tradition stuff. Like, hey, show some respect for the old ways. I'm not really that guy, but there is something just odd about a person in shorts. I would, and sandals would make it worse. Bare feet would make it worse.
But there's something strangely like maybe some of the old ways there are okay. Yeah. Maybe they're right on that one.
Do you own a suit? Do you have a formal outfit? Do you have a wardrobe for funerals and?
Not anymore. I used to.
Posing for paintings.
I had my 3-piece Sean John suit that I would wear to shows and stuff, but I think all that's I don't know if that fits anymore.
Is that Puff Daddy, Sean?
Oh yeah.
John? Okay. I'm not the guy to know any of those.
I went to a Men's Warehouse and the guy he just showed me. I was like, what do you think? I've got to go to this wedding, and it was buy one, get one free. So I got the suit that I needed for the wedding, and he showed me a number of other suits, and one of them was a Sean John. And I was like, "This is a Puff Daddy suit? Oh yeah, for sure. If it's free anyway, give me the." So
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's great. That's a great deal. So
I don't think
there's
that's the same one. I don't think that's the same
no,
statue.
no, not the one wearing the Hassan Piker hat. So, okay. Well, how about we step off from this topic a little bit and into some reactions of things. Now, I was tempted to actually and brutally, hold on, let me just resize this a bit. There you go. Force you to watch some of this InfoWars stuff. I feel like it's kind of cruel. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe give us.
I've watched some of it. I don't think it's too bad.
Well, I don't mean
like I think that Tim's doing a strong job with his impression.
I didn't mean cruel because it's bad. I meant like I wanted to gauge your thoughts and like where do you think where did the Alex Jones story? It's not ended. You guys' coverage has ended of it. Maybe in the future, but you're still. I guess I would assume your audience would agree with me that you're a bit of your perspective is still far more informed than most of ours, and we want to hear your takes on it. Are you done with the Alex Jones takes? I guess is my question, because you already hinted that you might go back to something else. I would suggest Rachel Maddow personally, just start from season 1. Do a whole new person.
I'm not opposed to it if I can find a database, if I can find like the old archives. I don't know. I don't think I'm done with. I don't know if I'm done with Alex Jones takes or whatever, because I think that he's still interesting, and there's a lot of like his past career that remains uncovered. But whatever he's doing in the present, I really don't think that the only reason that anything he ever did came off as interesting is because he pretended to have integrity. And he pretended to have this like, well, I'm a principled person, and these like lines that I have, people need to live up to them or I'm out. And his behavior around Trump over the last years have invalidated pretty much every single one of those things that were supposed to be his principles. So now when he's like saying he wants the 25th Amendment for Trump, and people are like, ha ha, look at you. It really doesn't matter. Like it's difficult to have a take on that means anything other than look at this asshole floundering, because he's already violated these really primal things and these primary things that he's supposed to care about. So there's some voyeurism and like laughing at him that I'd still like to do, but he's not as deep of a well for like learning something as he maybe once was.
Okay. You say that because of the changes in the ecosystem where he functions, or more like you kind of found all the gold in that vein. You fished that stream, and it's, you know what I mean? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think it's a function of like he only has value as long as you can pretend or convincingly believe that he means what he's saying. And I think that's true for almost pretty much everybody. I don't know, there may be exceptions somewhere, but like it's the circumstances around him and the amount of stuff I know, like it is impossible to even imagine that anything that he's saying means anything.
Right.
And so it's not that we like mined all the gold out of it or anything like that. It's more that we've reached a point where the awareness supersedes being able to like not just discard the product. Like his show is just, who cares? Who cares? Maybe good for dunking on, but not really like it's empty calories.
Was it like the same old tricks basically? Like he kind of had mapped the quiver of maneuvers. Why am I trying to come up with a different word for tricks? Is that what you're saying, or like it's somewhat predictable almost?
Or just a lot of it's super predictable, and then also like, so when we were covering earlier times in his career, like let's say 5 years ago or whatever, we could dip back to 5 years before that and then to be like, oh my God, in the present, he's like changed his position from this. But now, having done it as long as we have, we're living through him kind of like pretending that the time that we covered didn't happen. Like it's a strange thing to be like, well, this person doesn't even take what we're taking seriously. And
Yeah.
it's a spiral of cynicism, I think, that is really difficult to like hold on to.
Well, exactly what you're talking about is something we're going to be looking at in a moment, related to the Young Turks covering Alex, as they did recently. Spiral of cynicism is a great phrase. But just real quick though, InfoWars getting a hold of, or the Onion getting a hold of InfoWars, this process took a couple years at least, right? And this was a part of the Sandy Hook trial or judgment, or I know it's a bit complex, and there was a couple of starts and stops with the companies that were involved, but we're finally at a point where they fully control it, right? With the rainbow logo and the merch and the Tim Heidecker's operation now running it,
as evidenced by what you have up on screen.
Yeah,
they're making InfoWars content as this new thing.
Did I summarize that fairly accurately though? Like, is this part of the this did emerge out of the Sandy Hook settlements and various things?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that it was a part of it, but it would not have happened had those judgments not been hanging over Alex and the bankruptcy come about.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's all downstream from the Sandy Hook things, but it's not like a function of the courts.
So the bigger question I think I'm asking is this justice? Has there been justice? Will there be? It's still in the works to pay out some of those major settlements, but he's also been escaping it using legal trickery and using different business names. Can you summarize that a little bit, or just share some thoughts about the concept of whether justice is even close to this whole thing for how horribly he treated those families?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously like an incredibly complicated issue that I don't have the right to.
30 seconds go.
Yeah, and I don't have the right to say definitively, so I won't. But I will tell you some of my thoughts.
Yeah,
like as far as Alex goes, he was able to create these other businesses like Dr. Jones Naturals and the Alex Jones store that's owned by Bigley instead of owned by him. Like he's been able to create these things and shift all of his business over to them, and he'll be able to hide his wealth probably for the rest of his life, barring some kind of pretty crazy turn of events. So is that justice? Maybe objectively you would look at that and say there's a problem there, that he's able to do that. Everyone knows that he's doing that. It's transparent. And he's exploiting technicalities and the way that courts tend to protect wealth. And that sucks. But larger picture, I don't think that we have the right to decide what is or is not justice in this case and around any of this. The people who were wronged by him get to decide and determine whatever their version of justice is. And if my personal feeling is that I want, him to be run over by a car, then I'm entitled to have that feeling, but I'm not the person that he wronged. And so I leave it to them to determine what is justice, what were they needing to get out of the process of the trial. And that to me, I think is really the more important thing. And I don't think that it comes down to, I don't think it's as simple as like money or him disappearing or any of that. There's a lot of other variables that are hidden and personal and have to do with growth and
closure.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff, I think, is justice and victories that maybe you or I or the person on the street doesn't have access to, or we don't understand that, or we didn't see that visibly play out. So we feel like there isn't anything positive that's come out of all of this. And I think that that is I think it's a narrow view and it's an unfair view. But, you know, generally speaking, I also think that there's another point that's relevant, that is Alex has harmed everyone through his actions and the discourse and the way that he's eroded um, media. And I think that people demand justice for that. And they feel like they have more standing in that because he has harmed everyone. And I think that a lot of people are sublimating those feelings that they have for, like, I demand justice for what he's done to public conversation. And I think that they're applying themselves and feeling like the courts and the Sandy Hook case should get them justice for that. And I think that's where it gets very confusing,
Right.
because people do deserve some kind of recompense for what he's done and the way that he's harmed everyone through the media. But that's not the purview of this court. And hoping that that court would provide that is kind of, I feel like it centers your needs in a place where it's not about you, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, for sure. It's not.
Yeah.
The relevant part of that equation is the families and what the court actually has authority over in that whole process. And but yeah, like for instance, like this InfoWars stuff is probably the most visible side of that, which does feel kind of like a bad guy got his comeuppance to people that are just paying attention as media consumers, as cultural consumers. You're certainly closer to it than most are. I'm probably slightly closer. It's sort of because I work in media and I'm making a project about right-wing misinformation about the Young Turks and about the union busting and all that whole story.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I do think about these sorts of things quite a lot. So, okay.
And I think that this case also provides like a really, really uncomfortable and almost impossible like mental challenge for people. And that is that, like, the people that he wronged and who brought him to court aren't one thing. There are multiple families who have, slight differences of opinion about various things. There are many people who he wronged as much as anybody else who weren't plaintiffs on the suit, and so, like, there are compound nouns that we accept, like the families, and it's more abstract than concrete, in a way, speaking for like any sense of like what they need. If you say it's one thing, it's missing the forest for the trees a little bit. And one of the things that I think with the InfoWars with the Onion is they're working with plaintiffs, and if that's the case, then they're not idiots. Like, they've chosen to be involved in with this. That must be part of what they want out of this.
Right. That's
So,
important. That's a nice detail to know, like that this is with at least some. We don't know if it's all or whatever, but that some of the plaintiffs were involved with this, and or is it like an ongoing thing?
Yeah, and I don't know all the details, and I don't want to speak for anybody, so I would be remiss to do that. But I'm not aware, I guess, of anyone who's like said don't do this who was a plaintiff.
I see. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting turn that most wouldn't have predicted, I think, coming into this at the beginning of this process, that the Onion would somehow manage to get a hold of InfoWars and make a rainbow logo. Yeah. Give your hair another scoop that you just fixed. You left like a nice little sticky hair to you. There you go. That looks better. There you go. Now we can resume the Today Show. All right.
It's hot out here in the shy.
Do you have AC?
I do. I think it's intermittent.
What the fuck? Don't you have AC money? Come on, bitch. Pay for AC, motherfucker. What's wrong with you? Don't be. Just do it. Get some AC. Burn the planet. No, you wouldn't be at fault.
I've got ice packs that I have taped to my back.
Okay. I was gonna say to a fan. That's a thing people are doing. All right, but you're okay on temperature. You're not overheating. I'm a sweaty dude generally.
No problem. So
yeah. Well, one of the main advantages of of baldness is temperature regulations. You know, the hair is, especially thick ass hair like yours. I have nothing but compassion. That is
One
just
of
like being covered in fur.
one of my last road trips was I was joking to a friend, but it was actually kind of serious that I was practicing wearing a hat. Because I'm not a hat person,
Yeah.
but like I was out where no one knows me, so I don't care if they think I look weird. I was like practicing wearing a hat.
I see.
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on getting comfortable.
Like it's like the calves of the forehead. Can you allow people to see you in a hat?
Yeah.
It would be very alarming to see a man in a hat. Oh no. This is one of nature's most unusual sights. Look at that freak.
I know myself
keeping
not
the
to be
sun off of his
someone.
eyes.
I know myself to be someone who doesn't wear a hat. And so I think that everyone's going to look at me and be like, what the fuck's this guy doing wearing a hat? And no one thinks that. It is all in my head, but I still need practice.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha. I got these runner's hats that are like foldable, but they're my autism hats because they're like about a little bit longer. You can get like really weird long ones, but they're just great for my computer goblin lifestyle because I can kind of block off the world as much as I can to keep my attention tunnel.
You should get one of those dog cones.
I've thought about it, yeah, or just like binoculars strapped to my face or something.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch a couple of these? Not watch a whole, but have you even looked at these? Is that weird?
I've watched a few. I've watched a couple. I have not kept up with it super closely. So
I was just watching this one earlier here, and it is very that kind of humor that's like a little more irony poison than I like. It's kind of aggressively. I don't even know how to describe it.
I watched a little bit of that one where his horse had been killed, and I think that Tim does a pretty good job of capturing some of Alex's drunk mannerisms.
Definitely.
Like, there are some things obviously that you're doing a caricature, so it's a little bit overstated, but the things that he's overstating are really minute things that Alex does that were clearly noticed by the writers and by him. I found that to be pretty impressive. Like some little ticks being heightened. So kudos to that.
All right, well, let's click on this, just see what jumps out at you about his impression. Oh, Jesus, see, it comes on real strong. I have a ton of respect for Tim Heidecker too. I think he's a really talented guy, and his commitment in his he does, what is it called, office hours or something with DJ Doug Pound and the other celebrity editor Vic, right? Something Vic. Funny and interesting. My kind of humor, it doesn't quite click for me as far as like a consumer of it all, but I can observe the comedy that's on display, so I can definitely respect it from that level. So let's just play through. I think it'll be. I'll play.
I'm not sure if I have audio, but let's see.
All right, starting over here at the intro. Okay, here we go. Dan's audio should be working.
On our road to total victory, that is not stopping us to seek restitution and justice. In every battle, there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten. Then he who continues the attack wins. Come on, Lord!
So already, just from a title standpoint, I think one of the things that's good there, demonologist proves ex-wife wrong. Like, I know that Alex would never name a show that, but there is such obvious like personal pettiness that runs through a lot of his content,
right?
Where he tries to elevate something that's bothering him on a human level into something that would be talked about by like a demonologist or some political science expert. And so that's a good title.
Yeah. That's funny. It's a funny title. Yeah. It really does capture it all in 4 simple words.
And emergency being the title of the just regular show is obviously like, Alex says everything is breaking emergency broadcast. And it's like, what are you talking? You're drunk talking about going to the creek. What are you talking about? This is an emergency broadcast.
Yeah.
So that's good parody.
It is. So is this isn't satire? Is it parody? I think
I'm not sure what the difference is.
Yeah. I remember learning the difference years ago and kind of it made sense, but I couldn't tell you now. I think one has to do with like I don't know.
One is biting and one is trenchant.
Perfect. That's right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Emergency.
So is he
right
lit?
here
Is
on-
Alex lit weirdly with this? Do they light the faces? That seems like a very deliberate choice to make his head real bright. As a
I don't think generally.
okay.
I think that there is a feeling of like maybe it's that lighting is an overproduction, and Alex is overproduced sometimes.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't associate Alex with being lit from below or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it appears to be.
It does appear to be coming from off that. Yeah, okay.
On the real InfoWars, I'm your host, Tim Heidecker. A lot to get to today. We now have a new director working with us, lighting director, who's improving. I'm a little dubious on it.
See?
At this point, it is a bit overwhelming. And in fact, I want to just
you were ahead of the joke.
It right.
I mean, I would thrive in these environments though. Let's just crank up the lighting and be like the director. It's like comes from, and then the director selling some sort of lighting like supplement.
But it is, but that is also, you know, a truly kind of feeling thing about Alex, that you could see that happening. Like his show, you could see there being it's starting with him being like, we got something new, we're trying, or you know, like, especially if it was brokered, like if the director with the lighting had paid him to be there.
Yeah, yeah. But it backfires because once he's on air, he realizes it's messing with him, and now it turns into on-air problem solving, which when you're dealing with these people, it's a nightmare. Okay, that's funny.
Now, I'm feeling a little exposed. If you don't mind, Kevin, just go back to, it was fine before. You come in and you mess with something, you can't mess with perfection, and we don't need damn spotlight on my face. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get into so many stories today. Thank you to the people of Austin who have embraced the
here's the only problem I have with that. Okay. It resolved too quickly. Like, that is very true to Alex's show, except things don't usually get solved very fast. Right. Like, there will be things like that, and that was pointless. You know, like, we've got a light on him, and he gets upset, and then it reverts to the old lighting.
It's a bit they did, and then it ended.
It's satirizing something that does happen on Alex's show a fair amount, but it drags on much longer, and Alex gets much madder about it. Like, Tim should be leaving. He should be storming off the set. Yeah.
Well, they might bring it back. It might be one of those it gets kicked on or something. And I could definitely see that being an ongoing kind of messy thing. But you're right. That level of competency to say fix the problem and then it gets fixed immediately. I
don't trust them.
That takes it away from accurate satire or parody.
Austin, Jonestown already, movement, which is growing like wildfire, spreading like wildfire. We've got reports now that people are spreading the message organically on social media, but also on the ground. We have reports now. I'm not condoning any of this, but people are saying you can get out there and use spray paint or whatever it is, normal paint, regular old paint, stuff you can get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You can get out there and you can spread the message in Austin to make Austin Jonestown again. So we're very excited about that. People are coming to us in droves now for information. They're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. I don't love saying horse there. It brings back some memories already.
Alex has a horse history, Dan.
I don't know. I think, I mean, he's, so I don't know if this is exactly satirizing. I don't associate Alex with horses a ton. I know he CGI'd himself onto the Putin horse shirtless picture, and that was a meme for a bit. But I know that one of our early episodes was Alex like really wasted and like losing his shit, and his excuse was that his dog had died. Like later on, he was talking about how like he was just really tired and sad because his dog had died. He was fucking wasted. And he's also talked about killing some dogs in the past. And so like he has a fraught relationship with animals.
Were these dogs attacking him? Were they old or just neighbors annoying dog?
Some of it's a little unclear.
Right. Like Christy Noam, who's like, she had a puppy that wasn't training well, so she killed it in a quarry or something on her property.
I'm not sure if Alex has told any stories that were that rough, but like there are vague tales of like, you know, you just gotta kill them. You know, it's sad, it's drooling. You know, the dog's on it's gonna die. You just gotta smash it.
Right. Tough guy kind of Americana. I mean, I've killed a few animals in my time too, and but I don't make it some sort of masculine ritual of got to do what you got to do. Be a real man. Kill a helpless animal.
I wouldn't say that he's, you know, like never been around a horse. I'm sure he has, but like he's more of a dog guy.
Yeah. Kicked in the head by one probably while he was still in utero.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I think one thing that was good there though too is the way that he's saying, you know, Tim's saying that like, I'm not encouraging you to do this, but you can go get this paint at Michael's or Hobby. You know, like Alex does that a lot when there's something that is kind of dubious legality, like vandalism or something, but he wants people to do it. Like he will couch it like that.
Yeah.
This sense of like, no, I'm not telling anyone to do it, but
I wouldn't be allowed.
People are doing it.
Yeah. It's not something I'm allowed to say, the thing I'm about to say. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Let's play a little bit more, then we'll do one other one real quick just to kind of get a flavor because they have a little bit more production. This is a bit more of the desk piece version of the show.
Just thinking about that damn horse. Can't get it out of my head. Anyhow, lots to get to today. We're going to get back on track.
That's the punchline for the horse bit, apparently. We jumped ahead of it a little bit fast.
Well, I know from the video where he's really drunk that I was mentioning that the bit on that I think is that he blames his wife for killing his horse.
Okay.
So I assume that his horse is dead by this point, and he's just heartbroken about it.
And it could be a repeat. Like sometimes there's like inside joke sorts of things that happen. Maybe they do that with horses and stuff because they're inherently a silly and funny animal because of their size, musculature, emotional heft, and risk. I worked at a horse barn. I have lots of feelings.
A horse
barn. Yes. Yes. I was a dancer. I danced in one of the cages at the horse
bar.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Gay guys go to bear bars. Nope. This is for horse people that are.
All right.
Have you seen that sport where they run around with the horse?
What are you gesturing?
My hand's up here, like holding a stick between my legs.
Like polo?
No, it's the horse head on a stick, on a broom stick.
Like a hobby horse.
Is that what that's called? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I've seen it like it's
like a children's toy.
Yeah, but it's like competitive in Europe or something. It's like a thing you see on TikTok where they're like, look at these weirdos with these horses, and they run around and they have like a little course that they have to run.
I think that's fetish content, man. I don't know.
It could have been.
I don't know what's in your algorithm.
It appeared to be. It's only that. My algorithm is just that. It seemed like it was just one of those like put out there to be like almost like they're making fun of it, but they seem to be taking it very seriously, and it does take athleticism to maintain a stick between your legs while you run.
I'll look into it. This is the first I've heard.
All right. Well, okay.
KTOO out up there in Alaska. We have a deep
the overhead shot. That's the overhead shot's a thing, right? That's a big InfoWars move where he shows papers.
And it doesn't provide any information. And I've seen on a couple of these, one of the jokes that they use well is like the overhead shot is sometimes like off to the side, or it's just not helpful at all.
Right.
But it's Alex believes it to be providing a source for the things that he's saying.
Yeah.
And it's funny the way that they play with that and just
good.
Usually never get it right.
Right. Yeah. It is very random, and it is a distinctive thing. Most other shows don't do the overhead shot of the desk. Yeah.
Found near Sitka. Second time this month, Elliot Schmidt and a few of her friends were came as the whole story here. Whale was about 20 feet long. We now have whales, ladies and gentlemen, coming up from deep sea. These whales obviously are attempting to ascend and get off this planet because they know. If you ever seen Star Trek 4, you understand that the whales are harbingers of cataclysmic events, and we'll be looking at Star Trek for signals and goalposts. As we cross them, we'll report that to you. So whales are emerging.
One of the things that's challenging about that is that that's a joke. right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just literally what Alex does.
Yeah.
Like maybe he wouldn't say that whales are omen because of Star Wars or Star Trek, but like he constantly pretends things from movies are real and uses them as citations to like make his arguments. So one of the things that I always thought was very difficult about the idea of doing this show, doing an Onion parody of InfoWars, is there is a lot of stuff that is like already on its face. You don't really have to do anything different. And I think that that's a good example of what I mean. Like that is a joke, but it's also not. It's also exactly what would be on Alex's show.
Imitation. Like if it's like
I
it's
almost
like
think it's a copying machine.
Mimicking. Mimicking
yeah.
is almost like, but if it's like if it's too on the nose, if it's perfect, it's stopped. It's not really parody. Not that this is a judgmental sense, but it's like difficult. It's difficult to satirize, parodize.
Right.
Because the source material is already a parody of itself, kind of.
Yeah, the way you try to heighten the thing that is the subject of parody is putting in whales and Star Trek 4.
Right.
But that's not really that heightened from some of the things that Alex has just directly said and his audience is expected to take seriously,
right,
that he's deriving from a movie that he's seen. So like it's hard. I don't think it's wrong or bad of them to do it, but I think it presents a challenge.
Yeah.
That I think that a number of the things that we've seen in the little bit that we've watched, there's a lot of successful like tweaks and parody in it. And I think that this one's really hard. I don't know how you do it necessarily.
I hear you. It's like Trump is kind of like that too. Like just the mannerisms and affect of that guy. Any imitation, and almost everybody can do a voice, a Trump voice, but doing like a proper high production kind of show or film where you play him, how does it not seem bizarre to do him accurately? Like you almost have to make him more human to make it seem realistic, even though he's just such a clown weirdo, physically, mentally, everything, every other way.
Yeah, and it's not to say that either Alex or Trump, it's impossible to do that kind of parody of it, but I think it's probably harder than a lot of people recognize.
Yeah. So it looks like they have an ad here for Demon.
So whales are.
Oh, we're gonna jump.
We gotta take a little commercial break.
I'm just gonna start that.
Wait,
over.
was he still talking about whales 13 minutes later?
I jumped ahead. I was quick to
because that would feel organic. That would feel like InfoWars if he's still talking about whales.
No,
for a goddamn hour.
Yeah. And Free Willy. Yeah, no. I was doing a bad job hosting. That's what happened there. But I was gonna I saw a caller, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see what the caller says.
Here, we got a word here from retired Sheriff Dominick Banner.
Hello, I'm retired Sheriff Dominick Banner. Are demons keeping you from liberty and happiness? Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of. The wicked often prey on the righteous. Demon Guard is an easy-to-wear adhesive bandage that provides 24-hour protection from all dark entities. It's as simple as putting on a Band-Aid. Each patch secretes holy water and minerals harvested from the Jordan River and the Sea of Galilee and is blessed by an ordained minister so you can walk your path in divine comfort. Don't let demons control your thoughts, actions, and deeds. Order Demon Guard now.
Okay. No longer shall the wicked prey on the righteous. 24-hour holy protection from all dark entities. That seems like a good product.
Yeah, again, this is another thing that's really difficult to parody. Like I don't think that that's unsuccessful or that it's not funny. It's that like Alex's advertising model is something that is in itself a joke, and it is able to incorporate jokes about it. Like I remember early on, I think it was, who was it? Maybe Colbert, some late night guy was making fun of Alex selling bone broth. And they remixed that into a song that became a bone broth commercial. And so like, there is something obviously like necessary about addressing his advertising if you're making a parody of him. But again, I think it's way harder than people think, because if you watch his show and you watch the ads that are on there, it's really hard to think that there's any criticism of them that would stick, you know?
Because of the shame factor, or kind of they're already so outside of what's sort of considered normal or acceptable, or
yeah, and most of the criticisms that you would make about them are already contained within them. You know, like they are without any kind of decorum or anything. So like
yeah.
I obviously, you know, it's a parody, it's a joke, but like I don't think it's an oh god, you've pulled up the definition of parody and satire. But I don't think that like Band-Aid commercial or whatever is like, I don't necessarily think that wouldn't air if the person was giving him enough money.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, that's sort of the target zone you're aiming for with writing a parody like that. You're trying to be accurate, but also just slightly out of phase with acceptable.
But it's not out of phase.
Yeah.
Like I if you go back and you listen to the kind of stuff that he was promoting, like he was promoting like magic cures for things from people who ended up going to jail for like defrauding cancer patients and shit like that in the day. So like I could see if that Band-Aid company existed and they gave him money, he'd do that.
Sure.
He doesn't care, and his audience wouldn't hold him responsible for advertising something like that. So to me, it doesn't even feel like an escalation or a parody. It's just like, yeah, that's an ad he would take.
Have you
if the bottom line was there?
Have you ever come across former Alex Jones fans that came to light, like apostates of a sort, you know, like people that deconstructed? And has that ever come up in your ears?
Yeah, some. Yeah. It's not super I don't talk to a ton of folk, but like I think a lot of people who, once you're in for something like that, something like Alex, and you buy into it, you're far more likely to end up, when you become disillusioned with the thing, you'll end up driving deeper, and you'll usually end up creating a conspiracy around him. For why were you disillusioned? Well, obviously he's a Pied Piper who works for the Jews, right? Like that's an easier leap to make than to be like, wait a second, he doesn't mean any of this shit, and he was like, I just got fooled by this.
Yeah, yeah. I think in America too, we're kind of used to being marketed to by, you know, people like Alex. Like, meaning we're used to sort of being misled in our advertising, and as a consumer, your agency is just to move on generally. Or complain to the manager and raise a stink, maybe, but that's a whole different level of caloric expenditure than just being like, I got fooled, I'm moving on. Next.
But the things you're getting fooled into are like these elaborate conspiracies and narrative explanations for why the world isn't the way you think it should be.
Yeah.
And when you wake up from like being like, hey, this Alex Jones guy kind of sucks, your life still isn't the way you think it should be, and you're still going to want an explanation for that.
Right.
And so it's easier to add another layer onto the conspiracy than it is to you know, as you say, deconstruct.
Yeah. Maybe the world's not built around whatever Independence Day and Final Destination say about our culture, or whatever stupid movie that he references as somehow persuasive argument. So real fast, satire, this is from a Reddit, an English teacher answered a question, what is the difference between parody and satire? Satire is a piece of literature that utilizes sarcasm, hyperbole, and humor to make a point. Think A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, where he ironically proposes eating babies to make a statement on poverty. That was very radical type of writing at the time, wasn't it? Also, there's...
Then Alex did the same thing when he said he was going to eat his neighbors.
Yeah. Or he often will say, I did all the shootings when he's getting drunk and defensive about Sandy Hook. I did it. I'm the one. Or, you know,
that's not satire. That's just being a baby. That's lashing out.
All right, fine.
So wait, it has to be literature? Satire has to be literature.
Well, hold on. Let's. Also, there's The Onion, a satirical online newspaper. Satire can either contain incredulous content like eating babies to make the irony blatant, or it can be more subtle and require close reading to spot. Parody is a form of satire that mirrors one or more specific work. For example, most of Weird Al's songs are parodies of the original material. That's a great set point, especially for our generation. A literary example is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. There's also the movie Spaceballs, which is a Star Wars parody. The thing to remember about parody is that you need to be able to point to a specific work and say that is what is being made fun of here.
Okay, so satire can relate to more broad ideas, and parody is of a specific thing.
Yeah. Parody is a type of satire that it points at a specific thing. So this InfoWars thing is very much a parody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With satirical layers.
Yeah. Because it is satire.
I mean, this English teacher said The Onion is an example of satirical.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So, but when you're doing parody, you're doing satire. But when you're doing satire, you're not necessarily doing parody.
All gentlemen are men, but not all men are gentlemen.
Put it on my grave.
Socrates was mortal, therefore.
You're way past me. I'm not nowhere near that smart. Okay, do you want to do a different video, or do you want to hear the caller, or should we just jump?
I'm down with whatever, man.
All right, let's
It's interesting taking in a little slice.
Yeah, I'm curious to see your takes, obviously. So here, let's back it up a little to their break, and yeah, I have, as someone who does video production and editing and graphics, and I've been in these studio environments, this is a tremendous amount of work to prep all these bits and to like they have a workflow here, and they're also finding their legs. There's only like probably 15 videos on the entire channel so far, so they're still gonna work it out. And you know, this video only had 100,000 views. There was another one there that had 400,000. So maybe we're not watching the best of the best, but those looks like there'll be an audience for this stuff. So here, it looks like they get a caller. Jesus.
Let's go to the phone calls and see who's out there who might want to chime in and ask you questions or find out about whether or not they're possessed by demons.
Hello, Tim.
Who's this?
Hey, this is Phil calling in.
All right, Phil, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, and you got a question for my guest?
Yeah, I did. I've been possessed by a demon now for quite a while, about 6-7 years or so, and his name is Belphegor, and he came to me kind of like you suggested earlier. He swooped down in front of me from the top of a building and promised me, you know, if I did his bidding, great wealth and riches and orgies and things. But I'm kind of wondering now, I mean, that all sounded good to me originally and things have been fine, but I'm wondering, is there a time to kind of let go and maybe just kind of part ways from the demon?
Cindy Jo, your thoughts?
Does it feel like he's entered your body, entered your soul, or is he just something that you see hanging around?
Initially, for sure. I mean, there was in the
yes
beginnings.
Or no? You didn't say, you said for sure. Whether she gave you an option of this or that.
Well, yes, he definitely so. Where I was having involuntary motions.
Is the demon in you, or are you seeing the demon?
The demon is in me.
Real quick,
I don't see him.
Okay, go.
So the this is a good recreation of Alex not really being interested. Like, people call in and just tell patently absurd stories.
Sure.
And he is not really super interested in them and will go off he has his own agenda in order to stay interested. And Tim, I think, is doing a good job of representing that. And there was a look that he did to the camera when he was like, it's this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And that right. Yeah. There's a self-satisfaction that Alex ends up having when he feels like he's on top of a caller. And I think that is captured quite well by what Tim's doing. I think has a lot of like that energy, and the fact that this is boring. Like, his calls are boring for the most part, and the experts have nothing to say.
Sure. Will he take calls with another person on like this?
Yeah,
like
he'll do that.
He'll do that stuff.
Yeah,
too?
yeah. And then he'll domineer it usually.
Yeah. So it's like he's both like understandably bored, because as a showman and a broadcaster, you kind of have that impulse to, come on, get to the good part. You know, I have an audience. I'm trying to look, you know, whatever, sell buckets of slop or whatever. But he also has the kind of like a, impulsive compulsion to dominate, and then like it's almost like he's ceded the floor to somebody, and they're holding the mic. It's that thing where you're like, "Give me the mic. Give me the mic. You're talking too much." Like,
yeah, and it's not his first day. Like, he doesn't respect his audience at all because he's heard these things that they say. He knows that it's nonsense that he's encouraging in them. Like, I remember we tried to do some episodes about Coast to Coast AM, but they felt really ugly in a way, and it felt like we would just be making fun of people who think they have ghosts in their house.
Yeah.
And it felt bad. But there was one moment where George Noory was taking calls about the Boston bombing, and this caller was like, "Hey, you know what? I think that there's something going on because it was staged and everybody's injuries, it was all legs. Did you notice that? I think that there's some messaging there." And George Noory's response was like, "You know what? You're right. It was all legs." And to me, that felt like the most disrespectful answer possible. You're not even taking this person's idea seriously. You were just like, and that's the way that Alex feels a lot of the time. Like, he would love in a perfect world to tell them, "I don't really even care what the fuck you're saying. I'm not taking this seriously." But because of the show aspect of it, it's like, yeah, sure. Let's talk about why you're infested with a demon. Let's talk about why it's all legs. Like, it's cynical and it's disrespectful in a way that seeks to mask the contempt, I think.
Yeah, masking so he then leans on the pedantic, like, "Oh, you answered her wrong. She was actually, she didn't ask you for that. You said this or that, like yes or as he just did here. Am I right?
Because maybe that'll be interesting. Maybe for him that will be interesting as opposed to this caller who's telling a story that he doesn't give a single shit about.
Right. Let's watch a little more of this.
Sure.
Where I was having involuntary motions.
Is the demon in you, or are you seeing the demon?
The demon is in me. I don't see him. I haven't seen him in years.
Then how do you know he's lying around on your couch?
He tells me that's what he wants me to do. I hear the voice in my head that, "Hey, it's time to lay down, watch Landman," and I obey. Because that's sort of what I've
done that.
Told to do.
Is there any way for
I've laid down and watched Landman. Dan, do I have a demon? Am I demon?
Yeah, probably.
Am I demonized?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Damn. Can I get a new one? Can I
here to get that demon out, or is he stuck with him?
You're not stuck with him. You just have to take control. Because he's powerful and you're allowing him. It's just like in life. If you allow someone to control you, they will do it, and they will take advantage of you.
All right, Phil, be a man, pull your pants up, and if your demon inside of you is telling you to watch Landman, well, then sit down and watch The Price is Right. Put that demon in its place, and you're in the driver's seat, Phil. You got to make those choices, and don't listen to that demon. And the demon's going to get sick of you and head on to somebody else.
Well, I agree. He promised he was going to put me inside of a trapped prison of sorts that I would not be able to get out of. But I wonder if, it sounds threatening, but I'm thinking maybe he's only just describing one of those escape rooms that people pay to go into and solve puzzles to come out of. And I don't know if he's just kind of stringing me along at this point.
I went to escape room once. I hated it. It was so stupid.
I think it's situational. Depends on who you're in there with. But when he's like, "I don't know if this demon's just talking about an escape room," Tim does like a knowing nod and kind of like, and that feels Alexy. Like he's found something to latch onto, and like it almost feels like Tim is thinking of escape rooms that he's been to. And that feels like what Alex does when he's talking to somebody else is like, what about me? What about my experiences with escape rooms?
Right.
I'd rather think about that than talk to you.
Yeah. Okay. I think at the end of this call, there's something goes down. We're about to get to it, actually. Let's just go.
All right, well, good luck to you.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for the information.
Okay.
Who do we have on the line?
Hi, Tim.
Who's this?
Hey, Tim. It's Chesapeake. Who do you think it is?
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ.
Now, you know what? This is my ex-wife, Chesapeake, and I asked you not to call in. we're in the middle of a legal dispute, and
It's called a divorce, Tim.
we're not there yet. We're still in the mediation process. It might go that way, but what do you want to say? You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, well, 2 minutes starts. Okay, look, I think it's hilarious that you're wondering about demons. Are demons real? Are demons really on the earth? Are they around? You have them all inside of you, you son of a bitch.
Excuse me? I do not. You can confirm that. Look, I stand by. Cindy Joe's here. Do I have demons in me or not?
You are not possessed.
I'm demon-free, bitch.
Hey, bitch, listen. Cindy Joe, you listen to me, bitch. Have you looked at his butthole?
Excuse me?
Have you looked at Tim's butthole? Because if you look at his butthole, you will know there's demons in there. Also, if you get brave enough, look at his dick and balls area. You want to know some reasons why I left this man? Start looking at his butthole and his dick and balls.
Don't speak about me that way. You used to beg for that dick and balls.
No, thank you. No, thank you. If you call begging being absolutely repulsed. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Give me 1 second. I need to pet somebody.
Excuse me? Chesapeake, if you're messing around with my horse, I want you to take your hands off that horse now.
Bitch, that is my horse.
It is not.
Full circle, Dan. I knew if we kept digging, we'd find more horse. These are top. These are comedy pros.
They're comedy writers.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Is that Edie Patterson who plays the wife? Like, because I feel like I recognize that voice from
I'd be impressed.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Could be right. I don't know.
But yeah, there's a lot of good little things there.
Yeah.
I think that Alex being like, I'll give you 2 minutes and then interrupting or jumping in, that's very real and a fun game that is ripe for satire. But I think Tim was a little too uncomfortable bragging about his dick and ass. Like, I think Alex would really lean more into that. He would be more proud of how much his wife wants to fuck him or whatever.
Oh, I see.
Like,
yeah,
he has no discomfort about like his sexual prowess.
Okay, he does actually make that a part of his world, or at least his character, even though he also pretends to be like
you got to fill a lot of time.
The Christian guy who can't, who's like, hesitates to swear. That guy who
I think
acts like drugs are way over the line, even though he's yacked for decades straight.
That was like 10 years ago. Maybe he would be like, "Don't swear on my show." Now he talks about how he's fucked everybody and everybody wants to fuck him, and like he's a man who he's of the flesh, you know, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a Young Turks thing to look at, but do you want to do a quick one more of these, or not that much, just a quick touch on something a little bit more edited? I just thought we'd show this real fast.
Sure, I'll take a little peek.
So this one has a bit more of that aggressive, this guy interviewing a kid. This is one of those actors from, in fact, they even talk about it. I just watched the first chunk of this here. He did their Onion News Network shows way back. I just want to show people a little history spit of this dude. We'll just start it from right here. This is fine. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Malaria is on its way, and it's scheduled to hit sometime between March and May of 2020.
This is Dominick Banner for our audio only friends that are listening. Sorry for the, bad podcasting.
27.
I said I was nowhere apart. That's why I came in this. That's why I'm late. See, I got overslept. I had some shit going on in my house. How you doing, everybody? Sorry about that. We got to get back to the main show right now. Thank you, Dr. Banner. This guy's got a book out right now. Get the hell out of here, Fire Crisis. Don't use my show to plug your book, boy. Come on board.
Come on down and buy this shirt.
Do not buy this illegal shirt. We do not know how it got on our website, but it is illegal. If you buy it, sayonara to your assets, elf lover. Our legal team is horny for a fight. They're sprung and ready to hunt you down. Every time you buy this shirt, our legal shock troops are authorized to enter your home and break up to 1 vase. Buy this illegal shirt, and it'll be the last shirt you'll ever wear. You've been warned.
Okay.
That,
the Second Amendment.
There's that's a good version of like parodying the advertising, I think.
Yeah.
Because there are a number of things that are like they're trying to imply that the government doesn't want you to get these things. So like making the implicit explicit is fun in that way. So like claiming that that shirt is illegal, that's fun. That's a good ad.
Good one. Okay, good. Yeah, you're rebelling against the machine by getting out your credit card and giving us money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think that like Band-Aid, that holy Band-Aid, like is enough of a satire of the advertising, or at least it would be like he wouldn't have that ad on his show. Like the illegal shirt is like that is actually a heightening.
Yeah. I see what you're
of the game that you can make with his ads.
Okay, gotcha. I understand. Yeah. Well, just a
I'm just calling balls and strikes here. You know what I'm saying?
You're the guy, man. You would be the guy who trains the umpires, okay? And
our God-given right to own and operate firearms without government interference. America's forefathers made sure it was the very first thing in the Constitution for a reason. Now, some days it feels like the Second Amendment is the only thing standing between a functioning...
Like holding a gun like that is absolutely not... You're not supposed to hold your hand over the barrel covering the bullet hole where the hole comes out.
No, it's unwise.
Yeah, but
brandishing weapons is pretty de rigueur for InfoWars. That's pretty normal.
Sure.
You'll see weapons fairly regularly.
Yeah, the right-wing world loves the big guns on the back, the pistols, the things,
yeah.
Like, I have a woodworking mallet behind me and some houseplants. So, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to see the history of this dude here, this Jim Haggerty.
Turn me into...
So let me just back it up 10 seconds here. Yeah, there we go. So this guy is like a host of a show. Maybe in the future, if you come back on, we can do more of this and you can kind of assess the breadth of the InfoWars crew, because they have these other casts as smaller characters on it as well, because they also are sort of like, part of the way this plot unfolds in a way. So they're doing that with this channel as well, which makes sense. Tim Heidecker can't do every single on-air moment.
Sure.
Lucas Riley, welcome to the Jim Haggerty Show.
It's like a 6-year-old kid sitting at a table with some toys in front of him.
Hi.
For 35 years, I was part of the problem. A mouthpiece for the mainstream media, spewing their lies.
So I just wanted to, like, this guy, The Onion used to produce videos. These were pretty popular. These did a lot. And we knew Onion writers, right? We were Chicago.
Yeah, we knew some. Yeah.
Cullen was one of them. Cullen Crawford.
Yeah,
and,
I think that even less than like full-time writers, we knew a lot of people who contributed.
Yeah.
So like there's a heavy overlap of, especially like I assume those late live guys were pretty adjacent to the Onion.
Yeah,
like a Quazala or McAdam.
Chris Stevens and them. And
yeah.
Chris Stevens tweeted, remember the shooting at the White House? And did you see the clip of a guy eating a bite of food after the mayhem was going on?
I did not see that.
You recall the event, though, the White House Correspondents' Dinner with the guy rushing in? So obviously the whole thing went awry, but there was one shot of a guy just sort of like in the corner, still at the tables. They hadn't been evacuated, and he just takes a bite off of his plate. He just like reaches out and like takes it. And Chris Stevens tweeted that. He just caught it and said, and that tweet went mega viral. Like it was.
I think Chris Stevens might have been the first person that I ever saw who posted a mashup of Trump saying Antifa with that song Tequila. I think he might have claimed that territory.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was the first to the bell.
I could see it. Yeah. He's smart. He's a really funny dude.
Yeah.
I remember trying to look into submitting to the Onion or maybe contributing in those ways. I even started a Onion parody website called The Spout in like 2003-ish, way before I did comedy.
Damn.
I wrote like thousands of headlines and dozens of articles and little short ones, and I had all kinds of stuff. It was like very much like trying to be like the Onion. I'm old enough to remember Onion newspapers at college, and it was based in Madison and stuff, since I went to school in Illinois.
Yeah, I feel like back in like the times when we were doing stand-up, there was like a feeling of you've got to send clips and tapes to like bookers and clubs, and then also send like just 100 headlines to the Onion.
Yeah,
and maybe they'll buy one of them or pick up one of them.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting how many eras there's been. Yeah, we're so old. So, all right, a little more.
Eyes and kissing their feet, all while they turn me into something I'm not. But now I'm free of my corporate shackles, and my only business is freedom. My name is Jim Haggerty, and you are being lied to.
Okay.
So my only problem with this so far is that like the side characters in InfoWars wouldn't be like this respected. Like
enough to get a package, like an intro like that.
They might
as a
get
host?
they might get a package, but like I think that they're all like anybody who could plausibly be like another central talent would never be allowed to be. And so that's kind of a central problem of if you're going to parody the landscape of InfoWars and like all of the other people around, you have to have them be disposable. But in order for them to be part of the parody, you need people to become accustomed to their game and what role they're going to play in the satire. And I think that that's almost impossible because they have to be like almost useless on their own. Or Alex wouldn't employ them.
I see. Yeah, I gotcha. They can. They're backup robots at the Chuck E. Cheese, but they have like one gear, one thing that moves. They can't be substantial, anywhere near as important or substantial enough as the main host. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Like Owen Schroyer, he was there forever, and I don't know if he's satirizable. Like, I have watched tons and tons of his stuff, and maybe there's like mannerisms and things you could heighten to make it interesting, but his role there never really mattered in any meaningful way to the larger whole. It's like if Tim is satirizing Alex and doing a parody of Alex, then there should just be other people who are doing impressions of Tim. Like that's basically what the landscape would be. There would just be a bunch of other people who are sort of hoping for his approval by being him.
Oh, so the Schroyer gang, the underlings, they are trying to imitate Alex, you're saying, and like in the real world, they're sort of subordinate, but their mode is to flatter Alex by aspiring to. He's like aspirational for them. And you're saying that if the Tim crew was going to do that, they should have like the underlings similarly trying to pretend to be Bebop and Rocksteady trying to be Shredder.
I think that would be like organic, but like I don't know how you do that, and I'm sure that they find an angle and they can make something funny of it. But in the real world, the InfoWars, like the side characters are not important. They're not to be respected.
Similar to this guy, and it's clearly like this guy is a talented actor. He's just someone that had a run with the earlier Onion production, so they brought him back. And I like that they did the story of I used to be a sellout, now I'm free, and so I think they did a good job of that. But I see what you're saying as far as that
resonates in the right-wing media for sure.
Yeah,
but like I'm not sure if there are like InfoWars subordinates who would be like that person who is like, I used to sell out and now I've left the mainstream. I don't know. I feel like those people would be out of his price range.
Oh, sure. Yeah. In that sense, for sure. Yeah. But there's definitely a cottage industry of people who flee to the right because something about and they could build out that storyline too, as far as he goes. He might have got accused of terrible things like Russell Brand, for instance.
I half expected like that the media, like he was going to say they turned me into something that I'm not. And like the reveal was going to be that he's a werewolf or something. Like that's, I kind of thought that was the tone that was building.
Yeah. You could play with those storylines though. Maybe there's a werewolf like arc because he took supplements or something like that.
I mean, Alex straight up does believe in demons and that kind of shit. So like if the parody of him involved werewolves, it really wouldn't be like, it's not that much of a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fair. So speaking of, and thanks for your time, Dan. I almost called you Adam. That's weird. Thanks for your time today. I don't even know any Adams.
I always want to call you Henry because that's what I think Hank is short for.
It is.
But I know that's not. But I know that's not your name.
Well, I would answer to Henry. Very few might call me that, but no. Yeah, I like the name. Hank is short for Henry, and I am Henry. I think those are both nice names.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get okay with the name Hank. I used to have some kind of hang-ups about it. But I've embraced it. I think I'm a Hank, right?
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So speaking of right-wing shows and Alex Jones' ecosystem, as people know, I worked at the Young Turks. I'm making a documentary about unionizing the Young Turks called Tell the Truth Jank. There's a description, a website, tellthetruthjank.com. I'm going to clip this, Dan. That's why I started over.
Sure.
Here with Knowledge Fights Dan Friesen. We've been talking
Thanks
about...
for having me.
Thank you, sir. It's just an awkward thing.
So good to be here.
You've been wonderful. Amazing chat. But we're going to look at the Young Turks, who has had their own long storied career. My film is about misinformation and right-wing media ecosystems, kind of, at least as well as the labor portion of the story and how difficult it is for people without power to get justice for things that are wrong, and et cetera, et cetera. Themes that overlap between your show and my project and stuff. But there was an incident, and we get into this in a little bit, where you and I, and Dan, you and I talked about this on a previous appearance of yours on my show here, link in the description, where Alex Jones invaded the Young Turks set at the 2016, I think it was the Republican National Convention. So they had
Jimmy Dore spit in his mouth, famously.
Jimmy Dore spat in Alex's mouth, a mouthful of tea, although Jimmy would describe it as a funny spit take. Alex was so funny he just couldn't hold it in.
Yeah, that's fun.
So
they've made peace since.
Fast forward to about 2 or 3 years ago, 2023 or so, and Alex appeared on the Jimmy Dore show, and they talked about it. And Jimmy, you're the only two men whose spit I've had in my mouth. And then he tells a story about sharing a joint with Willie Nelson.
Welcome to the show, Alex Jones.
Wow, Jimmy, I've been a big fan of you for a long time, and you're one of the only men whose spit I've had in my mouth. So I just want to say that I've also had Willie Nelson spit in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
But my mouth was open when you spit at me like a spitting cobra and went right in my mouth. So
Christ.
You and Willie Nelson have both been in my mouth.
No, I stand by.
Put that on your headstone?
I put that on my headstone, but I stand by that you were being funny, because you were being funny. You said to Jake Uger, "I'm trying to be nice," and that was funny to me. And let's just show it. Here, I'll show it what happened. Here it is.
Oh, no, Jake, relax. Hold on. We're against Saudi Arabia, you dumbass. We talk about that all the time. We talk about that all the time. Shit. What do you think? The lizard people are in charge? No. Is that what you think? Hey, you're pissed. Your ass. Is that what you think? You're the anti-liberal and you're pissed. Bullshit. We're being nice here. You know what I care about? I care about the American people. Good. You're the one putting it out. Anybody hurt? I'm being nice. I'm not right. Everybody get the fuck off my stage. Get the fuck off my stage.
Okay, so there it was, the iced tea incident, and the ironic thing is that I thought this was going to blow up into a huge fist fight, because Jake Ugers was out of his mind, and you had baited him correctly and professionally, and you got exactly. I couldn't believe he was handling it that way.
He's a brawler.
He
I thought Jake's a brawler.
He likes to say he's a brawler. But it did diffuse almost immediately after that. Like everybody kind of walked away from that.
Hey, it's Hank from the editing dungeon. So that was December of 2023. But Alex and Jimmy got together again in March of 2026, and we're going to take a look at that momentarily. The spitting came up, and they talk about the overall incident in which Alex barged onto the Young Turks set. As you'll see in about a half hour, Dan and I take a much closer look at that, so this is pretty good context for that, which is why I'm including it in this episode. Just a quick thanks for everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, smash bells, destroy buttons, do all the things. And so here we go. 2026, Jimmy and Alex.
Jimmy Dore. There's only 2 men's saliva that have ever been in my mouth.
Oh, my God.
And I have had Jimmy Dore's saliva in my mouth, okay? I'm serious. We're going to tell that story in a minute. It was quite the time in Vegas in that hotel room. No, actually, he spit in my mouth in public. My mouth was open when he spit at me right in my mouth.
Oh,
but I forgive him. It's hilarious. We're going to go to Jimmy in a minute. He is handsome, though. Maybe I've never kind of gone that way, but was it a come on? So seriously, we'll talk about Trump, all the insanity, World War III in a moment. It is true, and it's not a weird factoid I just make up. So it's so funny. It's something I got to tell. I've had 2 men spit in my mouth. Okay. And I've had Jimmy Dore at the 2016 RNC when I crashed the Young Turks. He spit iced tea like a spitting cobra, and I'm right in my mouth. And we're like, oh, that's iced tea. So I've had, yep, that's just true. And Willie Nelson. Now, with Willie Nelson, just hung out with him a lot, played chess with him, hang out. He would smoke these big marijuana volcanoes. I'm not a big marijuana guy, but I smoke marijuana with him. And he sits there, and he's got a ball, and he sucks on it like he's an astronaut and in the right stuff, how long he can do it. He goes, he hands it to you, and there's spit dripping off, and it's Willie Nelson, so you go ahead and do it. So, hey, you're in quite the elite club. I've had plenty of women's saliva in my mouth, 2 or 3 probably. The point is, though, Jimmy Dore, that this is kind of gay. I mean, you've literally like a frog grabbing a bug, a bullfrog grabbing a bug with its tongue. Were you intending to hit me right in the mouth with your spit?
No, I wasn't intending to hit you right in the mouth. I don't know what I was intending to do. I was trying to diffuse the situation, and I thought maybe you would go run for a towel and try to get out of there. But it was chaos, and there was no security, and I was afraid things were going to keep escalating, and nobody wanted that. And I didn't really know much about you at that time. And, since I do, and I'm impressed with, the prescience you had around 9/11 and all that kind of stuff, but especially that. So,
Well,
so
I think
again,
it's funny. I think it's funny, but you're in quite an elite club, though.
I'm honored to be in that club, and I'm sorry that that's how I had to get into the club.
And how moist the joint was. Do you like a moist joint, Dan, or do you prefer a dry when you share one with someone?
I have to dig way back in the memory. I think that if it gets too moist, you got a problem.
I'd be bad with moist.
It's hard to hit through wet paper.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
But,
fair. Okay. It would have been weird if you're like, yes, I like sharing wet joints. That's my thing. So anyway.
I feel like, wasn't that like a wet joint? Isn't that like dipped in formaldehyde?
Oh, man.
Isn't that a slang? I feel like that was a slang term.
Oh, like a thing. Yeah. I don't know. Nevertheless, Alex Jones recently came out with an anti-Trump statement about the 25th Amendment, I think, or impeaching him or something like that. And since the Young Turks has taken their own output as a ostensibly progressive entity, they don't really use this phrase much anymore. The home of progressives. Cenk might still refer to themselves as progressives because he sort of tries
the verbo of progressives.
What is verbo? You'll have to fill me in.
It's like an off-brand Airbnb.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Timu, I would have understood. I hear that a lot. But thanks for teaching me a new internet meme. You're doing good work. So they wanted to cover this, and Cenk and Anna have both been very active on right-wing media spaces. They've been allying with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene, largely around the issue of Israel and the genocide and everything else there. But this whole process, which I've been watching very closely in the circles I kind of run in on the internet, people were very much paying attention to the right-wing shift that the Young Turks had been undergoing. First, Anna seemed to be making the turn, and then as the 2024 election wound up being in favor of Trump, Cenk went like full tilt, kissing up to Elon Musk, kissing up to Donald Trump, or, saying basically, the establishment has been defeated in kind of celebrating the Trump victory. Got into a famously contentious fight with Francesca Fiorentini, one of the former hosts of TYT, going over all this. So there's been a lot of sturm and drang about the Young Turks shift. And I thought this one jumped out at me because of their history of contentious beef with TYT or with Alex Jones. And they're both, I don't know if the word pioneer offers them too much credibility, but they both have been early to the video, TV show, talk show, internet distribution type of things, which I get. Anyway, long way to say we're going to just watch Young Turks cover Alex Jones's recent shift against Trump. Here we go.
Alex Jones has just announced that he believes President Donald Trump should be impeached over the Iran war. Now, this was a lengthy rant that he posted on X. This just broke, so we didn't have enough time to grab the video, but I'm going to read exactly what he said in it. So this is something he put out to his nearly 4 million followers, and he accused Trump of trying to bring back...
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Why can't she play it? That's crazy.
I don't know. They have some...
I don't know.
There's some copyright stuff with TYT has to be a bit more careful. They're higher profile.
Alex would not care at all.
Yeah.
But I find it strange that she's like, you know what I think it is? It might be sane-washing. Like, she's like, if I can read what he says, I can defend this better than showing you a video of this, like, lunatic.
That's very much probable, but I will, in their defense, this did break during this episode. So they might not have had the video available. Not that they don't have producers.
If it's
there.
on Twitter, then they can just play it from like Alex has a very, very strong public position that anybody can use his stuff for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he built his career on the idea that you could go get his tapes, make copies of them, and give them out to people. He does not enforce a copyright on anything.
Okay.
And so, like, the idea that Anna would have any kind of ambiguity around that, it seems strange to me.
Well, I'm persuaded by the sane-washing case you're making. I'm just steel-manning or just presenting a possible...
That's fair.
Yeah, just to be really fair. And I'm making a documentary about how these people lied about me and my friends. So, like, I'm not incentivized to, like, hide that or protect them in any sense. But I do look out for not wanting to seem like my bias is always front. You know, I don't want... I resist that actively.
And I think that's a smart and fair thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that making a live show and with there's things that are breaking is a challenging thing to do. And I think that there's a lot more that goes into it than people realize. But if she's covering the story at all, if she's reading what he said, that's really not that different in a breaking scenario than just playing his video.
Yeah.
So like, I think it feels to me like a choice, but I also understand the steel man approach, and I'm not gonna fight it. I think it could be either.
I've literally been in that scenario where it might be me that's they say get the video, put it on the thing because we need it on the background and send it into the system. Like I was a video editor there while they did live stuff, and I used to edit the show as well as other stuff, which is why I felt I deserved benefits for working there while I worked full time, while Cenk had me classified as a part-time worker. And then
it's also fair.
And we started a union to stop it. And then Cenk told his audience that his political foes started the union to hurt his run for Congress. And it's all entertainingly and painstakingly detailed in my documentary that I'm working on. Oh God, I got to get it out though. This baby is just eating my womb from the inside out. I need to finish this film and move on.
I was gonna say link in the comments, but not quite yet. Get that link in the comments.
Well, you can watch 84 minutes of it right now, but it's still going to be a big slog to finish it up. Anyway, okay. So but there is a choice to do the story at all, and it definitely indicates
it's an insane choice.
It very much
a stupid choice.
Resonates with their project of kind of sane-washing. I like that term of appealing to audiences on the right. Cenk has been dabbling in 9/11 trutherism, vaccine skepticism. The Fauci, they did a whole round cycle about Fauci over the last week with gain of function research, et cetera, that was going on in the news cycle.
Sweet.
On top of like lopping off pieces of their left, as Anna described it on a show, purging psychopaths from her audience.
I had to make a decision, and the decision was, okay, so for X number of years, might be 1, might be 2, might be 3, I'm going to have to go through a lot of pain to purge these psychopaths from our audience. And the pain isn't just the harassment directed at me. It's also the loss of revenue, hurting the show, whatever.
In order to, unburden themselves of the Puritanists that were plaguing them on the left that were in their audience that they had built for over, around 20 years. So
I think that the thing that's kind of unfortunate about that is that there's probably some truth to that. And that there is an element of their audience that probably was like an annoying counterproductive purity testing kind of like thing. But what they're alienating and trying to move away from isn't that. It's a much broader part of their audience. So it's still it's fundamentally dishonest, but there's probably like a way that she can feel like that's what she's doing.
I think there's absolutely a case for over purification, to use a word I just made up, or a term, on all movements to, you know, be kind of commanded by people that are maybe functioning on a different level of priorities in terms of what should be important or not. Definitely. But the way that they were gaining access to right-wing spaces, like the most infamous one was when Cenk appeared on the Charlie Kirk's TPUSA convention thing in December 2024.
So, Cenk, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I'm proud to represent the left flank of the populist movement, and I think we need both flanks, so I'm happy to have this conversation. I do have to give you guys credit for a revolution well done. And what I mean by that is not a revolution against the Democratic Party or the left or the country, but a revolution against the establishment. So
let's do that here. What do you guys think of Mitch McConnell?
All right. Yes, I love that. So look, for my left-wing friends that are watching out there, they just booed Mitch McConnell. That's a great thing, okay? And let's do one more. What do you guys think about Dick Cheney? On the right, you guys do a great job of coalescing. Okay, so you do a couple of things well. You work together well, and you're more welcoming, if I'm being honest.
We're glad Cenk's here, right, everybody?
And a lot of people on the left know this as well. If you agree with MAGA 5%, the answer you get is welcome, right? Come join us, right? On the left, if you disagree 5%, they go, get out of here, you're a right-winger, you're a fascist, right? But if you push enough people out and you guys welcome enough people in, eventually you win the popular vote. That's what I warned them about, and that's what happened, right? So, look, I propose simple rules. The 3 rules of the internet. Rule number 1, when we disagree, we fight. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Now, rule number 2 is afterwards we must have a beer together, okay? And rule number 3 is, for God's sake, when we agree, let's unite. Yeah, I'm trying to remind the left of who we are, because the left is supposed to be for freedom of speech. The left needs freedom. If you're gay or you're trans or you're Muslim or you're someone that was otherized at some point in your life, you need freedom more than anyone else does. You need equality more than anyone else does. You need justice more than anyone else does. So if you want those things, you've got to reciprocate. So you've got to not, I want you guys to not assume that we hate you or that we're evil or that we're bad. But if we're going to do that, the left wing has to do the same.
And then that's what spurred a huge round of like people from the left, and including like Mark Lamont Hill from Night School, who's like, you know, his show is called Night School on YouTube. Who had Cenk on, and Cenk spent like an hour defending white supremacists, how it's not a good idea to call them that.
If you are a white supremacist in this country, that's your tribe. That's where you go. You don't go anywhere else. Everybody in that room is not a white supremacist, but every white supremacist is probably in that part, is in that room, if you get metaphorically speaking. You know, that is home for them. That is a safe space for them. Charlie Kirk, who's someone you shared the stage with, would you agree that Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist?
I would certainly agree that he has said very harmful things about.
No, but let's not do the mainstream media thing. Do you believe he's a white supremacist?
No.
Tell me why.
Because when you say white supremacist, you mean someone who has ingrained thoughts that lead to maintaining structural racism in this country, and from time to time literally says things that are racist that maintain that structure. When you say white supremacists, they think you mean that they go home and put on a hood and look.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you but I'm not asking you if Charlie Kirk meets his own definition of white supremacy. You just very articulately laid out what a white supremacist actually is, and based on what a white supremacist actually is, do you think he's a white supremacist?
I don't think it's helpful to use that word. I'm not going to use that phrase. I think we need to get past that kind of phrasing, because that just puts up a giant wall between us.
Between us and the white supremacists.
How are we going to break it down, Mark? Because if we just call them names, it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. I've tried it a million times.
No. But Jake, that's disingenuous. Calling someone who's white supremacist or Islamophobic, that thing, to reduce that to name calling is unfair to the person who's being harmed.
No, I'm not saying it's name calling and I hate you and blah blah. And you're
no, but you just said to call them names. We're not calling them names. We're identifying them by what they are.
Yeah, but Mark, tons of folks on the right wing are Islamophobic, but me going and calling them Islamophobic is not helpful. So that's why I'm saying. You're arguing a point that I'm not making. That's a straw man. I've never suggested in this conversation that we should be going into rooms and calling these people what they are. That has nothing to do with what I was talking about. That's a straw man. What I was talking about was the fact that you're in the room with people who look at the world that way and what it means to be in the room with the people who look at the world that way. What I'm saying is that if we're walking into a room with people whose ideologies and beliefs are consistent with white supremacy, with Islamophobia, with anti-Semitism, etc., we have to at least question what the possibility is of reaching a political alliance if at the core they don't think we're humans. If at the core they don't think we deserve the same thing, regardless of what we call it. And so if we only focus on the tactic of how to engage a white supremacist, we lose sight of the fact that they're still white supremacists and that they don't want the same things we want, regardless of what they say. Now, Mark, this is a core disagreement. Even you saying, okay, half the room is white supremacists, but Mark, so you're saying they believe in systemic, like they are part of a system that executes racism in the country. Yes, but we all kind of are. But so calling all Americans white supremacists is not helpful.
But again, Jake, you're holding on to a point that I'm not making. You keep debating the argument about whether or not we should call them white supremacists. Let me stipulate again. I'm not making the case about whether or not we should call them white supremacists. We don't have to engage that.
You're calling them internally white supremacists and saying, why are you going into a room with white supremacists?
That's the second straw man. My debate isn't whether or not we go in the room. It's how we go in the room, what rooms we go in, and what we do and what we say about the people in that room when we're in the room.
Okay, great. Let's have that conversation.
He consistently advocates positions that certainly strengthen white supremacy. He certainly advocates positions that strengthen anti-Black racism. He certainly advocates positions that advance Islamophobia, that push against women's reproductive rights, just based on the things that he has said and done. Would you agree with everything I just said?
Largely.
Okay. So the one thing a white supremacist hates being called is a white supremacist. The one thing that racists hate being called is a racist. And I think, and usually the people calling them racist or white supremacists are the people who are catching hell from them. And so I think it's sort of bizarre to police the language or to tell someone, for example, hey, that person that hates Muslims, it's not helpful for you to, that person that called you a towelhead, that person that called you a devil worshiper, that person that called you a pagan and a rapist, it's not helpful to call them Islamophobic. Oh, that person that called you a nigger, oh, no. It's not helpful for you to call them white supremacists. That feels paternalistic and almost is disrespectful to the people who are victimized by it. You may think it's unhelpful, but I actually don't think it's your place or anyone else's place. It's like it'd be like saying I don't think it's helpful to. It would be like me saying to women, I don't think it's helpful for you guys to call Donald Trump sexist or misogynistic. I don't think that's helpful, ladies. I mean, come on. No. You're not doing that.
Hold on, Mark.
That's not what you said. No, I'm calling you on a contradiction. Hold on.
No, hold on, Mark.
That's not what you said.
No, Mark.
You can backtrack, but that's not what you said. What you said was, I don't think it's helpful. I hear people doing this and it's not working. Let us try something different. Let us, not let me. Let us.
Mark.
When I hear you say it's unhelpful, I find that problematic as a person who's on the business end of the white supremacy. And what you just said was you weren't telling us that. You were only speaking for yourself. But then even in your rejoinder, in your response, you pointed out that you actually are saying to the people that it was unhelpful. This isn't about their right to say it, free speech, but you're telling them that it's unhelpful. And I'm saying, telling Black people or telling women or telling Muslims or telling trans folk, hey, you have a right to say this. It's your experience, but I'm just telling you that's unhelpful. I'm just telling you, even in terms of strategically uniting folk as a Black person and as a Muslim and as an whatever title you want to put on me, when I'm told that thing, for every right-wing person you potentially get, I'm telling you, you're going to lose a whole lot of us.
Okay. So, Mark, here's the thing.
That was the day before. He then went on the Francesca Fiorentini show, The Bituation Room, and lectured her about standing in front of vulnerable communities. And
that all you want to do is break bread with them, that you want to debate with them, but afterward you want to go have a beer.
Yes, I do.
You want to have a beer with people who want to put people in mass deportation camps. They want to deport.
You think we're going to get put in camps? You sound all right. Anyway,
you think I sound crazy? They're starting with Chinese people. That's my fucking family, dog. Like, what are you talking about?
That's such an excuse. Okay, they're going to start with Muslims. They're going to start with my people. Okay, if they start at all. So just stop hiding behind vulnerable communities.
I'm hiding behind vulnerable communities.
Yes, you are. You're using them as human
shields. I'm standing in front of vulnerable communities, James.
No,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm in front of vulnerable communities. I'm the most endangered, Franny.
By tweeting at Elon Musk? Please, don't help me. Come on, James. This is so sad. That's so sad.
So let's
and even longtime contributors who were editors, like Hank. I remember Hank, and like the fact that, you know, he helped start the TYT union and now has obviously
nothing.
Okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, these are. But okay.
They turned into this really contentious thing, but yeah, it's been they use their. Can you believe how crazy the left is? That's the way they're gaining access to these right-wing spaces. And I don't even think there's something wrong with shifting your strategy and trying to grow an audience, and even saying we want to expand the breadth of our audience from the progressive side over here to the, you know, more centrists, more right-wingers. We're going to try to persuade this and that. I don't think that's necessarily stupid.
I also don't think there's anything wrong with changing your mind.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think that the shift that they would be making, if they were sincere about like, I'm changing my mind, I think it's bad. And I think that's like incorrect. But like, if you're just straight up with it, then like, I don't think it's the kind of sneakiness of it that I feel is is shitty.
A lot of people made comparisons to Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore doing the similar path.
Who they rightly mocked.
Yeah. Who both came from the Young Turks. And I worked with very closely with Jimmy for a long time. So, okay. More of this. We're going to end about 3 minutes into this, but we'll stop and talk because there's a couple points I wanted to get to. So I just jumped back and we're going to get more of the statement she was talking about from Alex.
He put out to his nearly 4 million followers, and he accused Trump of trying to bring back the national draft ahead of a full-scale ground invasion into Iran. He went on to say that Trump will use total war to take our freedoms, nationalize everything, and push us aside with artificial intelligence, total liability, immunity, and protection. Now, I'm going to read you verbatim what he said in making the argument or the case in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. And so I'm calling for it right now. 25th Amendment, impeachment, whatever needs to happen to get this front and center, to get control of our country. It's impeachable alone that the president's supporting the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, which of course includes that provision merging the US military with the terrorist IDF. I agree with Tucker Carlson and all of the people who voted against this, the mergers of the foreign military. It actually says it in Section 219, clear as day. Need to be Nuremberg-style trials. I mean, this is unbelievable.
So at least 60% of TYT airtime, at least the main show, is Israel stuff. Like, they're hyper-focused. Some whole episodes are. And they're righteous about it. I think there's some, you can quibble with some of the solutions and certainly some of the tactics, but they are in a pretty pitched fight, and they're on the right side. I mean, you know, and a lot of people from my circles criticize TYT for various things, but it's important to point out the stress that probably comes with battling, you know, Israeli operatives and getting into fights on Piers Morgan and having people threaten them, and all kinds of scary stuff happens too. I feel a lot of compassion for anybody who has a high profile, not just even people I have issues with, nevertheless deserve to be safe and and shouldn't have to live with that kind of stress from that sort of thing. So I'll give them kudos for that fight, but it does inform their alliance that they're making with the Tucker Carlsons of the world, because that's a very important stitch that kind of weaves through it, is the presence of Tucker Carlson in a lot of this, gearing up for what I think is going to be a presidential run.
Yeah, like I agree, and I'm glad. Like I think that everyone who shouldn't feel unsafe because of your position on opposition to what Israel has done. But I think when you're willing to make these kind of bedfellows, like you're obviously not on you don't care for the same reason as like a lot of other people do care. And I think that it's unfair to extend too much courtesy on that front. If Cenk is dabbling around with all of these other ideas that you're describing, then it seems pretty obvious to me that a lot of this is not motivated by a principle. It's motivated by a this is selling right now. And unfortunately, Israel happens to be one of the most important issues that is happening right now. And it is also probably a prime driver of the attention economy. And maybe I'm cynical, but I would feel like if you're also getting into vaccine denial and all of these other right-wing coded issues simultaneously, then I would worry that possibly that was what we could attribute those positive positions or those good positions to.
Yeah.
Like it just happens to be where you're following money along or audience along.
Yes, I agree with you. Just to correct, like, I wouldn't say they're outright like vaccine denialists or whatever, but sort of trafficking in affirming those sort of narratives while also arguing for using vaccines, I'd say. You know what I mean? Like adjacent-ish to that, sort of inching towards that one. They for instance, making Fauci a centerpiece of their coverage last week because they know that that's a major kind of siren song to the right-wing narratives around vaccines.
It's suspicious, and
but among many other things, or other examples, for sure.
But at the same time, it is good to be on the right side of that, and I agree with that. But I also worry that sometimes, like, agreement is actually hiding a fundamental disagreement. Like
deception?
with Alex.
Yeah, go ahead.
With Alex, a lot of the time, he would be opposed to like bombings of Palestinians. And that looks like a place where we can agree and we can really be like, hey, you know what? Absolutely, this is unacceptable. But the reality is that the reason he didn't want these Palestinians bombed is because if we bomb them, they're just going to come here. His reasoning for it was like, yeah, a genocide is actually impossible to fully do. If you could kill them all, great, do it.
Right.
But you can't. And it's just going to lead to more terrorism coming to the United States because he views all Muslims as terrorists.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, there's the appearance of like something that could be an agreement, which is in opposition to genocide happening in Palestine. But it's not really an agreement. It is a disagreement.
Right.
If that makes sense. I worry that TYT may have some of the same, if not the exact same, some of those dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're more sophisticated than they let on in terms of how they understand media, in terms of how they understand the way YouTube algorithms function and such like that. So, the kind of language that enters the lexicon. Cenk started using the R word out of nowhere. And
hey, it's back.
Like added that, got called out for it, and then I just remember the super chat said, "Hey, you shouldn't use that word," and he acknowledged that he would stop using it. But then I've also heard him say, "I'm not supposed to say the R word," but he's acting like that. Okay,
wasn't it Anna who got into a big fight with people on Twitter about like using goy slop or something like that?
There was a few cycles about that. Yeah, I can't pull that. Yeah. There was
that to me is like a fundamental unseriousness.
The goy are waking up and
like that kind of shit. It's like, what the anyway,
that was more recent than the previous rounds about birthing person or bonus hole, which came up in terms of one of the larger salvos in their departure from their left-wing audience was to trash trans people in order to gain access to right-wing spaces. Turns out, by the way, Dan, did you know that the right-wingers are very welcoming? They're more welcoming than the left. Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you're famous podcasters or a hot blonde lady, the right winger is welcoming to you? Weird.
Let's see if that lasts. Let's see if that lasts.
Yeah. So backing up just a little bit here, because she's right about to say something hilarious.
Need to be Nuremberg-style trials. I mean, this is unbelievable. You know, I gotta say, there's more. I'm gonna read it in just a second, but Alex Jones has been like looking better, if that makes any sense, like looking a little healthier. And
I gotta go. I gotta go.
He's healthy, Dan. Didn't you notice how hale and spry and young and nice, tight skin, good tan?
I want to be clear. I didn't watch this in advance, so I don't know where any of this is going, but that's exactly like, oh, that's the tone we're doing here. That's kind of where I felt like this was going. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. You know who Alex Jones is. Like, you're on the Young Turks. Why are you taking anything he says seriously?
Right.
This is, and like, if she was a sincere actor covering this, she would know that, number one, Alex doesn't believe in Nuremberg trials because he hates international law and thinks it's globalism. So him calling for international Nuremberg style things about this is inherently just contradictory and should indicate that this is nonsense.
Right.
And if she had any familiarity with the subject matter beforehand, she would know that he constantly tries to scare his audience by talking about how they're bringing back the draft. It's a tool and a storyline that he uses all the time. So pretending this is breaking news that Alex tweeted that Trump is trying to bring back the draft, it's like, okay, all you're revealing is a unfamiliarity with the subject that you're covering, and it's a guy who, you know what his shtick is. Like, this is dumb. This is really stupid.
Right. Yeah. It's one thing to say, hey, this Trump stuff is getting so out of hand that even Alex Jones, that maniac, is calling for this stuff. And we know he's probably not sincere because he is who he is. You could point that out. I don't think it's necessarily like unremarkable to point out that like big figures on the right are pointing out or calling for things. That's, I think, you know, given the options available and the levers of power that are available to people trying to stop a genocide, why not try for any angle you can? But when you do a like kind of like a breaking news, like, oh my God, emergency, we got to like shift our show today to report on this message. And then your first analysis is, hey, isn't he looking pretty good? He's looking real healthy, isn't he?
A couple things. One, I don't think that it really is that helpful to be like, well, even he gets it. If your person that you're talking about is a fucking lunatic that you know shouldn't be taken seriously, like, that really doesn't help us get anywhere closer to other people accepting it and getting the point. Second thing, Alex is looking better. It's because he looked like shit before. But also, like, who cares? He does look, I mean, he looks healthier. He looked like he was going to fucking straight up die for a number of years. And like, he at least looks alive now.
He's a little thinner. Is that what we're noticing? Is it Ozempic stuff?
Maybe.
Mainly?
I don't know.
Not that it's our okay. Let's continue.
I think he's also just accepted that he's a bald man and he looks better bald.
Oh,
and that his beard looked like shit. I think he looks probably better with his face shape and a goatee.
Sure.
Like, I think he might have gotten that eventually.
Yeah, having a beard and a bald is usually the limit.
It's hard.
The choice you got. Until your alopecia kicks in and you have some sort of stress-induced body hair loss, which I have. I'm even losing the hair on the sides here, but I still have hair like the rest of me. It's kind of a it's
you get all the upsides.
It sucks. going bald twice. You know, I wasn't planning on the second round, nor the first. Okay, here's more.
I don't know. I just feel like he's been saying a few things lately. I don't agree with everything he says. Please don't. Please don't. Like, but let me be fair to him. He has been saying a few things, especially as it pertains to the surveillance state, as it pertains to our conflicts abroad, the wars that we've been engaging in, for endless support of Israel. He has been speaking out against that pretty consistently.
So,
no,
I'm going to know.
Thoughts? Keep going.
I mean, just like, it's a foolish fucking thing to ever say that he's been speaking on something consistently. That's right. That's what I responded to there. It was like, nah, don't. You kind of have to not be aware of him or watch his show, or just know much about him to think like there's a consistency.
Yeah.
His character and the brand he wishes everyone would promote is a very consistent person, but he's all over the fucking place. And none of that stuff matters. Like the surveillance state doesn't matter if he feels like the white Christian heterosexual men are in charge of it. If it can be used as a tool of the groups that he feels a part of to oppress other people, he doesn't give a single fuck about it being used. He doesn't care about a police state. He doesn't care about any of that shit, except when it's possible that people who are of the class that he feels a part of could be a target of it. As long as Trump was like wielding all of the powers of the federal government in favor of straight white Christian men, Alex would have absolutely no problem with it. And for Anna or Cenk to have no idea about any of that, it shows a lack of familiarity with the subject that they shouldn't be commenting on, probably.
Very fair, absolutely. And you said earlier about people meaning what they say, and you said spiral of something. I even said it was a great phrase. I forgot it already.
Spiral of cynicism.
Cynicism, perfect. So hold on to those thoughts. Cenk is going to flatter Alex further.
Two things here. First, this is kind of amazing because we just had the 10-year anniversary of our fight, me and Alex Jones. But remember what that fight was about. It was at the RNC. It was the night that Donald Trump was giving his acceptance speech. And Alex Jones had come onto our set to make a case that Trump was amazing and great, and we were totally wrong.
Counterpoint. He didn't come onto the set to make that argument. He came on the set to steal attention. That was what Alex was doing.
Yes.
So
Indeed.
For Cenk to pretend otherwise is him willfully interacting with and accepting Alex's bullshit. Like there's no other way around it. For Cenk to pretend like he was there to make a counterpoint to what the Young Turks were talking about, go fuck yourself. You know that's not true.
Right. To make a and he's setting himself up for the point he's about to make after that. So he's a very effective, I'd say not effective, but he does it all the time. He's very well practiced at creating straw men. Cenk's logic only really works when he's surrounded by apparitions that he can easily bat away. That's why he I've been documenting this thing, and it's in partly in the film, and I might even do another smaller mini doc about the right-wing turn. Where people he's arguing with are constantly going, I didn't say that. Why are you putting words in my mouth? I didn't say that, because he takes arguments, presents to them the easiest, most ridiculous case, and then he can easily knock that down. When you hold his arguments up to scrutiny, it's a whole different battle. You know,
well, because it is kind of interesting to imagine a world where Alex was trying to make a case for Trump 10 years ago.
Right.
And now here he is saying that Trump is wrong.
Yeah.
This allows Cenk to be able to say, like, hey, I've had character consistency through this whole thing. This is the guy who has come around to my side, as opposed to having to like really deal with the fact that Alex was there to cause a scene and maybe make some memes and exploit your audience and your desperation to also be involved in attention games.
Yeah.
And that's the character consistency that has continued and isn't really all that different 10 years later.
Definitely not. And we're going to take a look at it right now. Here it is. I was supposed to be here, by the way. I was in a very, very, very rough mental space that summer. I was working with Jimmy Dore. This is 2016. Jimmy and I had done some road stuff for the couple months prior with Bernie Sanders and other places. But I just didn't have it in me to go to this. I was in a dark. That was a bad year for me. Okay. So I would have been in this video if I had been there, because I would.
Crazy.
Jimmy would have hid behind me. So, but here's where Alex first approaches.
He wins white males in such overwhelming numbers that it overcomes every other demographic advantage Hillary has.
Come sit in your lap.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, Alex Jones, how you doing?
See you, man. You're looking sexy.
How about I come sit in your lap? That's his opening. So
yeah, but that's charm. That's Alex. That's what he thinks is charm.
Oh yeah. I was just like a I just heard that.
Alex does a lot of gay play.
No doubt. No doubt. But they were remarkably patient with him up to a point, which they shouldn't. They should have, like, it. You know, it's easy to.
You really never know when he has a gun, though. And I think in 2016 there would probably be like so little awareness of Alex that you might be scared of him. Like, totally. I think he had. Yeah. He didn't seem like as much of a coward little titty baby as he does now.
And I don't fault Cenk for losing his cool later on in this. He totally should. This is
No,
like a
no,
sacred thing.
Security should have lost their shit. This
Yeah.
should have never happened.
Yeah,
This
right.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is Cenk's fault that Alex is that close.
It is Cenk's fault or not Cenk's fault?
Yes, it's a failure of boundaries. It's a failure of like if you had security,
Cenk
which
should
I
have
assume
security.
they do. I assume they do.
I don't know.
Alex wouldn't have been admitted to this space. Like, it's a professional environment. There's a YouTube logo in the background.
Right. They're
not going to. This is corporate shit.
I think it's I think it's some sort of like Radio Row type scenario where there's different booths and it's kind of free flowing within a convention hall.
Yeah, and people can't just barge into other people's stuff like it's 80s wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something that is allowed in a professional environment.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cenk did allow it to happen is indicative to me of his willingness to have a moment, let's say.
I would push back slightly. I would just say that maybe he was relying on norms because you wouldn't expect anybody to do this kind of BS that Alex does right now. But also,
I can accept that.
I could also argue that the RNC should have been providing the security for that kind of thing. But yeah, I hear you. I don't hold that on Cenk too much because he does try to kind of keep it under, de-escalate mostly at the beginning here.
Hey, how's the revolution going? You guys starting the revolution? We are indeed, Alex. The revolution is afoot. Welcome to the Young Turks.
Cenk does kind of let Alex sort of command the stage, though. That's also sort of the kind of, peacock. Which bird runs this pond? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why Jimmy spit on him.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and then they go to break, and it did. Yeah.
Jimmy spits on him. I think partially because there's a power vacuum.
That's a good. I agree, and I think people deserve worse than being spat on for doing this is like sacred space. You don't invade someone else's studio while they're in the middle of a shoot like this. It's like incredibly.
Yeah, no, Alex should. I'm not a violent person. I don't condone violence, but Cenk had every right to punch Alex, and and then there would be live cameras revealing how much of a soft asshole Alex is. Like, probably wouldn't have fought back. Probably would have threatened to sue or something.
Would have fled.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. I got punched supplements would have been a big seller.
I am going to restore American democracy along with progressives and conservatives in this country. All right. Well, I got to tell you, I am really, really proud to be here with you. It's good to meet you in person. I don't think. How are you guys doing? We're doing okay. You like all our Hillary for Prison shirts everywhere? No, I kind of despise it.
What shirts are they? I haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen? Oh my God! You didn't see me? I don't exist. If you didn't see me,
I'm not.
That's Jimmy Dore screaming. So
yeah. Also, like, I think that it's irresponsible at this point for whoever's running this, whoever is and Cenk himself to Alex is drunk. Like, I'm sure you could smell the booze on him. Like, it's silly to. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know for sure if he's drunk, do we? I mean, he was such a drunk that it's like you can be confident in saying he was. I don't know what time of day. He drunk in the morning. Yeah. Okay.
I'm certain.
Okay. You're. I wouldn't question that, but I hear you. So Ben reacted with what shirts, and then Michael Schur, Ben Mankiewicz on the left, Turner Classic Movies, also never said a positive word about the union, even though his whole career is based off union labor movies. And then Michael Schur on the right ran for Congress, but they both sort of engaged him. And then Jimmy Dore seems to be triggered. And Jimmy has more live production, like stand-up comedy environment stuff. So
he's dealt with hecklers and stuff.
Yeah, so
much
he has
more
instincts
than Cenk,
that are at play that aren't being on display here. So he starts screaming. This is still when he was loyal to TYT.
All right, guys. Okay. Here. Look at this. I got a new shirt for you right here. It's rape.
So now Alex Jones gets a shirt with a Bill Clinton Obama poster style. With the small colors, low color count, but it says rape underneath it instead of hope.
At the time, he was paying people to interrupt Hillary rallies, yelling Bill Clinton's a rapist. He paid people, like, if they could get video of themselves yelling that, he would pay them like $1,500 or something like that. And then also we see Leanne McAdoo in the background there.
That's who that is?
One of the that's one of his old anchors. She did the nightly news for a little while, and then she's someone who clearly never meant anything that she said on air, and is like kind of a hippie, free spirit kind of person it seems, in her real life. And she won a contest to be an on-air talent, and it happened to be at InfoWars. And so she just would go anywhere that would have hired her.
How long did she last with the company?
She was there a couple of years. She was a couple of years, but it was those big years, you know?
Yeah. Big in the invading other talk shows at the RNC years. So
yeah,
that's amazing that you know that. Okay, here we go.
It's Bill Clinton that says rape. Oh God, hide that immediately.
So
that's
not-
the big no. The Roger Stone's banned.
All right, you want to take my show over? I'll take your show over.
So Jenks, Jenks getting irritated. I turned the volume down. Jenks getting irritated. Yanks the shirt. So is Alex Jones making his case for Trump as how Jenk described it in the lead up to this?
No, it's a very blatant publicity stuff.
Yeah. Using his already established profit lines like shirt selling, Hillary for prison, Bill Clinton rape shirt.
And it feels like the other people who are there are pretty aware of that. Like, it seems like the people on either side of Jenk get like that this is not a sincere exchange of ideas.
Yes. They're very frozen, not sure what to do. It's a weird situation, and stuff like this happens fast too. You know, I don't fault Jenk for anything in terms of his reactions, because, you know, you think you got to make split decisions, and then it's all going to get picked apart later, 10 years later, by, you know, two of the smartest, handsomest men on the internet. Let's keep going.
Hey, all right.
First of all, a sick guy. Second of
Bill
all,
Clinton's not a rapist, folks.
No, you know who's accused in court papers.
Come on.
You know who's accused in court papers of being a rapist? Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump, Roger Stone. You know that. It's in court papers.
So he's yelling at Roger Stone. You can find other camera angles of this on the internet if you want to go down a rabbit hole, everybody, if you feel like hating yourself that much more. So you can see different angles from this whole thing. You know, one of Alex's guys went and confronted Jimmy later. We're not going to watch that today. So he's yelling at Roger Stone. Keep going here.
Oh, yeah, you're a sick dude, Roger Stone.
I want to have a rant off with you right now.
You assault me all the time. You never give me a chance to respond.
Oh, yeah, I should give you a hatchet job. A job
Bullshit,
to
we'll
respond.
get Mike.
You're a
Come on in.
sick man, Roger Stone.
You're a liar.
Roger,
No,
get in here.
you're the world's
Well, get him
biggest
in here.
liar.
Get him in here.
Didn't you admit that you lied about Elliot
Get up here
Spitzer?
right now.
Didn't you already admit that?
Do you recognize this camera guy right in the front there in the green shorts?
Yeah, that's Rob Dew. That's
Rob,
Alex's
really?
like secondhand man. I can tell from the hat.
Okay.
That's a Rob Dewey hat. Also, I can see the contours of his face.
Yeah.
He's
Turns his head.
he's a piece of shit.
He's still with them?
He varyingly has been employed by them and not employed by them whenever it's legally convenient for him to be either. But he's like Alex's second in command, basically, of like, he's been around forever.
Okay.
He was their corporate representative when they had to do depositions for the Sandy Hook
I was
cases.
about to say that.
Yeah, he sucks so much and
Okay.
is a total idiot. Like, charisma vacuum on camera, boring. I'm not a fan.
He's having a blast, though, just invading the space and taking that center stage right,
Yeah,
right in the
he's
middle.
probably drunk too. I don't know.
Yeah.
He might not be an alcoholic, but
I do remember that deposition episode you guys did. That was really interesting. Those deposition episodes were low key one of your, not better, but I mean, like, surprisingly good, because you're like, deposition.
I'm quite
And then-
proud of those.
Yeah. So a little bit more here.
About Elliot Spitzer, didn't you already admit that?
You're not
piece
afraid of him,
crap?
are you?
You're
You're not
a piece
afraid of him. Get him in here.
And first of all, Alex, this ain't your fucking show.
I don't know.
Okay?
Oh,
And
so you're
Roger,
afraid to
it
debate
surely
him?
ain't your fucking
Are you
show.
afraid to debate him?
Okay. Afraid? Are you kidding me?
So this is the Young Turks crew trying to run, like, they have a TriCaster. They're trying to produce this and cover it up. I think they come back, though. So here we come. We have a graphic on screen for those just listening.
All right,
Roger, yeah, run away.
You notice that like Alex dropped the act a little bit when he also believed that they were running B-roll, or that, like, let's call it to the lobby screen. He could see on the monitors that they had gone to that like coverage of the, and so he stopped attacking as much.
I think they turned the volume down. Is what
I doubt
how I picked up on that. Because if you're running that, you're gonna put the graphic up and turn the volume down.
I doubt it. I think that, well, maybe there's some of that, but
Because that was a choice by someone at TYT in the room.
Yeah, but you could still hear a bit of Jenk's mic, and you couldn't hear Alex yelling. The reason that I feel that way is that there's a number of stories that I've heard over the years of people who've been around when Alex was doing his outbursts and stuff, and how when the cameras are off, it just kind of like blip, And I've also seen him at the courthouse, like when he was trying to do a press conference outside of the Sandy Hook court in Texas. And like he was doing bah, 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 bah. And then as soon as he was like off, he was off. And like I think my take on this, so much of this is performative, and so much of like what he's doing now is just to exploit Cenk, and Cenk has every reason to know that.
Sure. Yeah. And he it's just amazing. He starts just arguing.
He
with
seems
Roger.
really mad though.
Yeah, he
Cenk seems really mad.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably almost as mad as when he found out his workers had started a union to stop his exploitative working conditions.
Oh, he wants to debate you right now. I'm not going to debate this guy. You're a hatchet man. I don't know why anyone in the media takes you seriously.
He is doing a decent job with mic technique, at least. He's just making sure he gets the voice into the microphone.
Biggest lie. You're known as the biggest liar in media.
Look at Alex Jones smiling, though. Look at this. Look how happy he is with himself. I just backed it up at 5 seconds. He's after the girl walks by.
I have to assume he would have gone into this thinking it wasn't going to work. You know, like, and he's happy because this is working.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's the best move for TYT? Cut to break immediately, or
yeah. Either that
not
or
let it spire. Look at Alex Jones right there. There he is.
You should never allow yourself to be in this situation, period. Like security should have stopped him. But like, let's assume that didn't happen. Throw a break.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you hear him yelling or there's a disturbance or something, and then failing that, fight him.
Agreed. Defend your territory. You know, and there's Ben Mankiewicz cackling. He's having a fun. So
biggest liar in media. You're the biggest liar in media.
Alex puts his fingers, bunny ears behind his head. Classic, pull from the 70s.
You just slapped him on the back. You could say that that's like initiating physical contact. Now I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
He was doing that. He was kind of and really aggressively touching his shoulder.
Don't get too mad. We gotta. All right. Well, first of all, he's actually mad. You're actually really upset.
You're actually really upset.
Should have come to debate. That's true. All right.
Now Anna steps in. She's pissed. She's fiery. She's loyal. She'll defend. You know.
All right.
Once you get out of here, Alex.
All right. We got to continue the show.
Hey, man. Nobody watches you. We know nobody watches you.
TYT producer.
The Arabians aren't funny enough. Your little jihad. Hey, first of all, let me explain something. All right. Okay, this is bullshit. Okay, hold on. We're against Saudi Arabia, you dumbass.
He's against Saudi Arabia. He wanted her to know because Alex had said something racist about Anna something Saudi Arabia. I don't know. So, okay. So there's more. We've gone through it plenty. Unless you want to watch more before we jump back.
I think I see failings on all accounts, except for Alex. He did exactly what he set out to do. And I think that this is the advantage of like, far be it from me to speak highly of TYT in the present, but I think in 2016, in this moment in time, Cenk cares about something and Alex doesn't. You can see it in his face. You can see it in Rob Dew's face. They are cynical trolls rolling in shit.
Yeah.
And Cenk has to care, and that makes him the butt of the joke. And there really is no way that he was going to escape this situation once it happens.
Yeah.
And
that's well put. I agree with you. I would actually even argue today Cenk cares about stuff, and I'm the guy making the documentary about how he's a horrible boss and a liar, right?
I'm sure he does. I just I have very little awareness of like I don't watch his shit much, so I
think he has ideological blind spots that prevent him, like such as making the decision to bust a union while running for Congress as a guy who defends workers.
It's a dicey choice.
not the smoothest political move in history. So we will get to the point where Jimmy spits on him because we did talk about that. Let's at least get there.
Sure.
All the time. Oh, really?
Keep an eye on the left side of the frame, everybody. Jimmy will enter from that side and kind of sneak up from behind.
You talk about that all the time. You don't know shit. What do you think? The lizard people are in charge? No. Is that what you think? Hey, you're pissed. Bilderberg? Is that what you think? You're the anti-liberal and you're pissed. Bullshit. We're being nice here. You know what I care about?
He goes, we're being nice here. So Jimmy will cite that line, we're being nice here, is what made him laugh so hard he had to spit when he was doing damage control for it.
I care about the American people.
That's funny.
You're the one putting
Here comes. This is chaos. Oh, it already happened. You can see it from different angles because he goes unbelievable, and we hear Alex say that. Jimmy texted
It's chaos,
me,
but it's all bullshit. You know, like this is all avoidable.
Agreed. Yeah. But it's not like it's scripted bullshit. I mean, it's a dynamic, it's something, things are boiling over. But Jimmy texted me within a couple minutes of him. He wanted to get the video out because I was sitting around. Yeah.
Of course he did.
Yeah. So we missed the part. It was too crowded from this angle. So it didn't seem like Cenk, as Cenk described, Alex was turned up to argue for Trump, though. It certainly seems
he
like
was just making a point. He was there to make a point.
This is some revisionism here going on. Let's back up a little bit and start this back again with Cenk. We're nearing the end of our episode, everybody. Dan, thanks again for your generous time here. Here we go.
For sure.
This is kind of amazing because we just had the 10-year anniversary of our fight, me and Alex Jones. But remember what that fight was about. It was at the RNC. It was the night that Donald Trump was giving his acceptance speech. And Alex Jones had come onto our set to make a case that, that Trump was amazing and great. And we were totally wrong about Trump, right? And then we got into that kerfuffle, let's say. Okay. Now, 10 years later, I nearly wore my 25th Amendment t-shirt today. He's talking about the 25th Amendment. We didn't go to his position. He came to our position.
Well, he realized that
exactly.
Exactly. Proof of correctness. TYT was always holding true to principles. Definitely not fungible.
It's like exactly what I said when I know this. Like it's so predictable. This is. It's the necessary lie that Cenk needs to tell in order for this to be the storyline. And this is such an important storyline for his sense of self and for his media positioning that there's no other way to do this. So fundamentally, he has to be lying knowingly in the moment about what happened with Alex, or he should accept that Alex did sincerely come there to make a good faith case for Donald Trump being president, and Cenk wouldn't let him. It's either Cenk's fault for what happened 10 years ago, or he's lying like an asshole now in order to facilitate the narrative that he wants to spin about how I haven't changed.
Exactly. Like in order to give himself a victory lap, he loves these, he builds a straw man, he smacks him down quickly and easily, and then he does a victory lap and brags about how correct he was all along. I've been watching him do this for years.
That's pretty gross.
Yes, it is. So there's a point here where we'll end. It's about a minute more, and then we'll wrap it up.
Is a fraud.
Yeah.
Sorry, back up 5 seconds just to hear Anna.
His position. He came to our position.
Well, he realized that Trump is a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'll give him credit. This isn't like a ha-ha, okay, we won, you lost, we were right.
Now, sorry, just Anna saying that he realized Trump is a fraud. She very much in the year and a half, 2 years before 2024 election, she was toying with, not pro-Trump, but sort of Trump excuse making.
And the notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
He doesn't really believe 2025. He didn't actually try those things. There's a few famous instances where, she was shown to be kind of exercising some sort of very clearly ideological shift in her rhetoric around around Trump, I mean, and then came out with something of an apology, like just a throwaway kind of, oh, by the way, because she didn't think that fascism was inbound.
By the way, guys, I was so wrong. I knew Trump was going to be bad. I didn't like, just because, when I hear the word fascist, I think of, fascism is a specific ideology. So when Cenk and I got into that debate about whether or not Trump is fascist leading up to the election, there wasn't evidence to suggest that he has or believes in a fascist ideology.
How would we know that Trump was going to be fascist in his second term? It's not like there was some playbook, with some ominous name like Project 2025 written by a bunch of Trump and Vance besties that spelled it all out.
Trump has very aggressively disavowed Project 2025. There are portions of Project 2025, namely on immigration policy, that Trump does agree with and he campaigns heavily on, but associating it with the Trump campaign because some former Trump administration officials are now part of the Heritage Foundation, I think is a little bit unfair. Well, there's a lot that he doesn't agree with that's in that document and said that he won't actually pursue. And are we going to pretend like Trump read a 900-page document?
Yeah, that was a real excuse that Trump can't read. Well, guess what? Neither can the ICE Gestapo, but that's not stopping them from murdering people in the streets. The one time Anna chose to believe Trump, to hear what she wanted to hear, to soothe the mean comments online, she was deafeningly wrong. Project 2025 was the playbook.
I'm sorry, I feel guilt every single day that I didn't see this coming. I'm such an idiot. Anyway, let's get back to the show.
In 2024, she was
by the
arguing
way, that
against it.
market testing didn't work. We got the results back and didn't sell.
Yeah.
But let's even take a step further back. These people have every reason to fully fucking understand that Alex knew Trump was full of shit before. Pretending that he just finally realized that Trump's a liar. Come on, that's insane. This is a delusional perspective for them to be espousing, and believing it is only useful for them because it props up the sense of self that they need to believe. And that, I think, when you're going to the lengths of kind of trying to rehab Alex's image for the sake of that, you're lost. This is not good.
That's well said. Let's keep going.
You were wrong. No, for a minute there in this term, Alex Jones was still trying to defend the war and Israel and
for a minute.
Mm-hmm. All this stuff, and he was looking like a total hypocrite and utterly fraudulent. And we were pointing it out with a little bit of glee, like, what happened, Mr. The government,
the deep state,
etc. I'll take my shirt off. Right? But here he is actually going back to whatever his principles are. And you could disagree with his facts and why.
Disagree with Alex's facts. Would you ever describe Alex as someone who has facts that are even...
I think if you're disagreeing with the facts, you're missing the point. And they know that. They fucking know that.
Yeah. Or just that does he traffic in facts? He's not a big fact guy at all. He's
going back to his principles. Get the fuck out of here. That's hilarious.
That's the part.
What a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah.
They know better. That's the part that is infuriating about seeing a clip like this. Is like, come on. You didn't just start doing journalism. That clip with Alex barging on the set is 10 years ago. Come on. If you were new to this, I'd understand your naivete and being like, oh, you got to give it up to him sometimes. He kind of gets, fuck off. Fuck all the way off. You know what you're doing.
I agree. 5 seconds back, starting again. We're getting
actually
there.
Going back to whatever his principles are. And you could disagree with his facts, and why God have we in the past, and we will continue to, right? When it's called upon. But he did return to principles, and that is something that you have to give credit for. Saying, no, I am against big government. I am against the surveillance state. I am for America and not for other countries. Anybody who does that, I say, all right, credit where credit is due.
He also said,
here's the fucking problem. It's not coming back to your principles when you realize that accepting all of the things that you're supposed to be against, if you're accepting them when you think you will benefit from them, and then you realize oh, I am not in touch with power at all. They don't care about me. They're not going to protect me from whatever dystopia is coming. If you then oh, I'm not into big government. I don't like the surveillance state. That's not coming back to principles. That's not having principles.
Yeah.
This is infuriating, and Cenk understands this. There's no... It's just a mockery. It's a mockery of taking this seriously. And I think if you are happy with the police state when it's targeting other people because you think like, it's just immigrants, whatever, I don't give a shit. And then eventually you're like, oh no, I don't like the police state. I don't believe that the police state was the problem.
Right.
I don't believe you when you come back to your principles. You're retreating to this other position reveals to me that those principles weren't real because you didn't defend them at a time when it wouldn't have been advantageous for you to defend them, right? Like,
yeah,
Cenk understands that. He gets that. You're making me mad, Hank.
That's what.
I haven't been covering this stuff for a while, and it's making my blood pressure go the fuck up.
Well, take a month off, relax, play video games, chill out. For you, sorry for undoing all your good progress. And
no, it feels like home, but it makes me mad.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard other people who have dealt with TYT and worked within the, seen the insider tracks that I've seen as well, talk about the lack of principles and the kind of,
it makes sense with your experience too. Like it tracks with the idea of being like someone who's publicly and outwardly in favor of labor and being against a union. Like when it's disadvantageous for you, your principle no longer exists. So I could understand why he would cynically want to pretend that this is Alex coming back to his principles, but on some level he has to know. And I don't believe that he doesn't know.
Agreed. If we're supposed to especially accept that they assign themselves the role of being such, high level, prominent insider, media personalities who've always, been there since the beginning and should be listened to. Shit, I lost the thought. I had a good one too, but there's one more here at the end. As I think of it, I think this is the wrap up.
One more thing that's going to make me mad?
Just similar to what they'd already been saying. I'll just back up 5 seconds here.
Right? So Israel is expanding the war. Netanyahu is ecstatic, and even Trump's biggest allies, people who are literally willing to fight me physically over supporting Trump, are now saying impeach him.
Yeah.
So he repeated the BS that the whole fight at the RNC was about supporting Trump.
That might have been a piece of it, but that's not what they were fighting about.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
They weren't fighting over anything real.
No. Yeah. Agreed. But the revisionism here is very clear, and the principles thing I was thinking of is like I was drawn to TYT's principles in terms of getting money out of politics and, kind of the outsider status of being a progressive in 2008, 2009. When I was a paying member in 2009, I think is when I started, moved across the country in 2013 to work there. And, I've been off and on in that environment. And then in 2018 went back there and I got a really good taste of Cenk's actual principles when he had me classified in ways that I wouldn't get benefits for full-time labor, including part-time employee while I worked 40-hour weeks. So we unionized, then a union busts. So his actual principles are in the union busting. His actual principles are revealed in the worker contracts that he makes you sign. I have a piece of paper in this room that says no benefits, no health care, nothing. That's when he had me classified as an independent contractor for a job that was previously an employee's full-time job. And the
thing that with this stuff is that there's a lot of moving parts to something that is like TYT or some big business or whatever, right? Yeah. You can understand that. And if you're classified that way and it's an oversight that gets brought to someone's attention, you can't really fault someone for it being a betrayal of their principles before they became aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But how you respond to that, I think, is indicative of what you really feel.
Yeah.
Because he's the host of it. He's the head of this stuff. You can't really assume that he has his hands on every little thing. But
sure. If Hassan Piker hadn't come, he didn't do it like I'm coming forward type of thing, but he'd mentioned on some shows, the guy's been talking up publicly for 35% of his literal life. But he talked about how Uncle Cenk skirted labor regulations.
And I wanted to move to Los Angeles anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle was like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to hire someone and skirt some serious labor regulations because his family.
Stole ad sales commissions from him.
You're going to do Facebook.
Well, that's because your uncle was letting everybody steal your sales deals too.
That's
His
true.
uncle would let him massage a sales deal to the last thing, then someone would swoop in and close it and take the commission.
Yeah.
And his uncle would be like, "Them's the break."
Took his IP because he created the.
My third like final radicalizing moment, I guess, was I had this IP, this intellectual property of the show that I like built out of the for free that I did because I wanted to do it on the side. It's something I wanted, and I knew they were not gonna. Like originally, they were not going to let me do it unless I do it for free, which is, you know, kind of lame.
And this is your uncle's company.
Yeah, it's my uncle's company. It blew up. It got very popular. And instead of giving me additional funds to be like, here, let's build out the show more. Let's give you a writer, you know, because I did this in the supply closet, basically. I put a green screen up there and I started filming myself. They were like, oh yeah, we're going to take this IP and we're going to give it to all the other hosts so we can like make more of the same type of videos without spending any extra money. And that's when I was like, damn, I have no ownership over this. Like, I have no control over my hours. I have no control over this IP, this thing that I created, right? Like this thing that I put a lot of thought and effort into and I did for basically free. I don't control it
It seems like you're describing the third-party leasing arrangement that Amazon is using right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a great segue.
So you definitely needed a union with a relative.
Oh, 100%.
No doubt.
Exactly.
I'm talking about Cenk Uygur. YTY.
I was one of the editors for The Breakdown, not the primary, but I was one of Hassan's editors. I knew him back in 2014 before he was anybody, and he would come up to me and talk about stand-up and shit. But like, so there's corroborating information as to whether or not Cenk was in on the weeds or not. But like you said, doesn't matter in my opinion, especially because in my case, I did ask them to fix it. I did give them an out to say like, hey, maybe this was a mistake. I've been here 7 months for zero benefits. I just took a 6-day vacation. I got paid for none of those days, even though I'm working with people who do the same job who get paid. Can you fix this? And can I get proper benefits? Instead of saying, oh shoot, we're sorry. That would have been a frustrating experience, but my story would have been, hey, they fucked up and they fixed it when they was called out. Instead, the answer was make him a part-time. We'll call him part-time, bring him into the payroll. So he's not an independent contractor. Now he's going, but I still worked 40-hour weeks. Then they hired me a third time for the same job, 12 months of full-time work without benefits. And upon the eve of the third time, I wrote, and I've posted this on Substack. It's on baldontheinside.substack.com, an email explicitly asking if I could get paid for all that time off. I made it very clear that if this was a mistake, now's your chance to make it okay. You know, they didn't know that I was already months deep in secretly organizing a union to answer this problem. And actually, I feel like I'm a lot more free and clear to talk about this shit publicly because we had to unionize. You know, this scenario I'm describing about myself was the core of the second attempt at unionizing, but a year before, another group of workers, well, some of the same people, but workers had tried to start a union at the Young Turks prior to that during a period when I wasn't there. So my conditions were central to the second attempt. And then Cenk goes and runs for Congress, and that's why I just made it a documentary, because it's like a crazy story to be forming a union while your boss is running for Congress, and then it turns into this union busting thing, as well as this big cover up, because he straight up denies he did union busting. He won't even admit he did union busting. It's interesting.
I mean, like even just from the little bit we've watched here, there's so much dishonest framing in what he's putting forth that that's not surprising at all. I don't know what lies in the hearts of men, but I wouldn't be too surprised if he feels like he didn't do union busting. Like maybe that's the truth he tells himself, in the same way that he needs to tell himself that Alex came on the show to talk about Trump in 2016. Like maybe these are necessary lies that he has to tell himself, or else this whole perception collapses.
Yeah, yeah. If I had a longer arm, I would pull up the notice to employees that I like to whip out and show people that, you know, as well as the emails Cenk wrote to the workers that on the eve of the election, like within a week of the second election that he forced, and the union busting law firms that the company hires, and the union busting tactics that they did over and over.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, that's the thing, is like people can be very persuaded by their own delusions, especially certain personality types. For sure.
Yeah. And I think that in that clip that we just watched here, I think that there's another one that's important, and that is that Cenk is pretending that Alex is like agreeing with them about Israel. And that is a part of why this thing is happening and this shift is happening.
Yeah.
This is an illusion that Cenk has, that Alex has a coherent position about Israel, cares at all about anything in the real world related to this, has a coherent position about an Iran war or Trump being militaristic. Like, Cenk needs to believe that those are the reasons. Like, a coherent position is what's motivating Alex to do these things that make them into agreeing. And that on its own is delusional. So like there's layers upon layers of how he's trying to like cope with this in order to make it seem like I'm the most consistent and Alex has come to my side. And it's bullshit.
So I think
and why? What's the end goal? Now you got Alex on your side. Great.
Right.
Cool.
I could kind of see the rationale in someone who only sees these things as marketing slogans. Like that's the principle that's on display, really, is that the home of progressives, the phrase that they used for years, they tried to go with mainstream progressives briefly in their transition, and they don't really necessarily have a slogan per se right now. You know, they have their mission statements about truth and honesty and bullshit like that. But I have come to see that the phrase home of progressives was marketing, if ever anything. I think Jake does have some principles, and I don't think it's fair to say that he, like if he was running for Congress and he would get in, he would immediately turn against Medicare for all or would be against supporting some of the policies that, you know, are advocated for by those on the left. Although they do have sponsors now that are like Chapter, just a company that has J.D. Vance as one of the board members or closely involved, or Vivek Ramaswamy, because all these like ruling class demons are all like their rat tails are intertwined in the background, in the way the LLCs are all folded into each other. You know, the big scam of the society. The ruling class gets to, you know, pull their profits out of the systems. So they advertise for like that kind of stuff, and Polymarket was one of their big sponsors. They renamed the studio the Polymarket Studios, which is like a illegal gambling site that sadly has gained even more prominence in the society.
I was watching SummerSlam the other night.
That's a wrestling show?
Yeah, it's a wrestling pay-per-view.
Okay.
And I wasn't enjoying it that much. And then a commercial break happened, and there was a Polymarket commercial that was just Rick Rubin sitting there. And I got some questions about that guy. And the music in the background is Kanye. It's the Toast to the Assholes.
Okay.
The instrumental of that song. I'm like, okay, we've got a gambling website with Rick Rubin and Kanye West in 2026 that's a commercial on a wrestling pay-per-view that is like morality tales about good and evil told through physical confrontations, made by a company that is ghouls,
right,
and are working with the government. Why? I was like,
and Trump is
about as
Trump has a stake in that stuff. Maybe not the wrestling, but I know he does in the UFC.
Yeah, and they're the same company. The TKO is the same company, parent company of all of them.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I couldn't. I was struck by the evilness of that moment. That commercial within this, like. I felt like it was kind of unacceptable that I was watching it at that moment.
Yeah. And effectively to get people to pull their phones out and just like flick money towards them. Just here's money, here's money. That is funny. Morality Tales is a really interesting. Whoa, my camera freezes. Morality Tales is a really interesting way to describe wrestling. I like that. Because
it does so much is supposed to be.
Well, it's base libidinal storytelling. Good guy, bad guy. The bad guy eventually gets what he deserves, which is justice, or, you know, and then, yeah. All right. So I think this is the end here. I mean, we're at the end, but I just want to see what else there is.
So this is an amazing turn of events.
It is. And I'm glad that when it comes to these types of issues, Alex Jones has decided to go back to his principles.
I wonder if they're thinking like they could hire him or something. Like if they're getting, like, if they're thinking money out of this.
That would surprise me.
Well,
I don't know. He's made common cause with like Dr. Phil. Cenk co-hosted the Trump State of the Union response town hall that he did with Dr. Phil on Merit TV, which is his production company.
I want to introduce someone that I have a deep respect for. He's become a good friend of mine, sometimes an adversary, and he's my co-host tonight. I'm talking about Cenk Uygur. Cenk is known for his passionate commentary, and he's built a platform, YTY. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, brother.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, what I admire most about Cenk is his unwavering commitment to speaking the truth.
Clearly trying to ingratiate himself with, there's more money on the right. Go ahead.
The issue that I have is that, like, I can't believe this is sincere. Like, I can't believe that Anna or Cenk would think, like, Alex has come back to his principles, which are my principles, and hooray, look at this. Aren't we uniting people across the aisle? I don't believe that for a fucking second. They know that Alex is a shithead alcoholic who just yells shit and talks about memes on his show. They know that. So, to me, if I hear this kind of a presentation, to me, there's a code in it that almost feels like them saying, we're open to working with you to maximize the amount of attention that we both get if you're willing to play ball. And the things that you're doing are the kind of things that we like to see in someone who's playing ball. So would you like to, it feels like an olive branch of, like, the attention economy, bringing together, like, we'll work with you in the future if you
work with, olive branch, everything else, yes, but not hire. I'd be weird. I'd be stunned if they, like, brought him into some sort of deal. And Alex has got to be bigger.
It'd probably
than
be legally impossible anyway, too. Probably.
Yeah, it'd be unusual. Maybe share a stage at some sort of convention, something like that, or they're positioning to be a part of the Tucker Carlson third party. It's probably going to be called the America First Party. They have Joe Kent on as a regular. He was just on this past, the day before or whatever, one of these days this week. Both Anna and Jacob
Nick Fuentes won't be mad about that or capitalize on that really strongly.
Right. Yeah. I think the ultimate bit that we're getting at, or at least maybe I won't speak for you, but is that this shows how little they respect their audience. That they go ahead.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
And that weaves back to the Tim Heidecker parody of Alex. Like, one of the things that makes his parody of Alex really do work is that he does capture a little bit of the disrespect and hatred towards the audience that Alex has. And that is a great point. This is disrespectful.
I agree. I see it when Cenk does this hokey bullshit, like, we're just a big family, looking out for, we stand up for each other. It's like, bitch, I had to start a union at your company in order to go to a doctor. Okay. Why don't you?
And you fought me on it at every turn.
Yeah. And then not only did you fight me, you lied to the audience about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You clearly don't respect your audience enough to tell them the truth about the workers, or at least even acknowledge, even with your own bullshit spin. I honestly wish he had, because I wouldn't have had to, I might not have been so incentivized to make this fucking movie. It's taken me forever. I've had to take major breaks, and funding money has been a major issue for me as far as getting by, and managing my neurodivergence has also slowed things down. I did some work on Abby Martin's movie, Earth's Greatest Enemy. They have people, money, and, fame and, ability to promote. And, like, it still took years for them to make that. And so documentaries take a long time, especially when you have no money and very little help. So, but this year we're pushing hard to finish it. I'm really excited to finally get to the work to do on it. I'm going to do a bunch of the work.
I'm rooting for you. I hope you do.
It would be great. Like, my dream is that it kind of escapes containment and ends up being sort of an internet sport where people sort of just, like, realize, like, hey, there's actually a chance here to hold a capitalist and a union buster accountable, but just by making them tell the truth, maybe we could do that part of it. Because I got the storytelling, I got the editing, I got that part. I'm good at that shit. I even got a better microphone to re-record the voiceover.
And you experienced the travesty or whatever. That's already happened.
So. I was in the middle of it. Yeah. And so it's an unusual project for various reasons, but I want to move on to other stuff. I'd love to produce other documentaries, or, I have this concept about a farmer. I want to do, like, a year in the life of a farm. And
as a creator and someone who puts things out, I know that feeling, and I would say that you gotta go to go. You gotta do to do. That's my folksy
that doesn't
aphorism.
help me. That doesn't help me at all. Are those real plants behind you, Dan? By the way,
no, those are fake.
Okay.
I had an idea of mixing real with fake as a backdrop, and I just lost my patience for it.
Little a couple of standout houseplants on the shelves would sell that really well.
That's what this is supposed to be. There's supposed to be a planter here.
Oh, well, that's what made me think of it. That like black tray looks like one of those like seed tray kind of planter trays.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, good job, Dan. You've been wonderful. We went way longer than I booked you for, and it's been a pleasure chatting.
My cat is yelling at me, so
you've
that
got an
is
upset
time to
cat.
go.
Time to get some sweet time with your kitty baby. My cat died. The one that I took in, she died.
I'm sorry.
I gave her back to the neighbors that I stole her from, and then they told me about a week ago that the cat died. So I took the cat in for 2 years. That was expensive. I missed the cat. She was a sweetie, but something went wrong. Oh, okay. Well, that's a horrible way to end the show, everybody.
Yeah. What a bright note.
Trying to. So, everybody go check out Show Me State of Mind. Of course, I think the Knowledge Fight archive, it has a long shelf life, from what I can tell. I've seen
those will go. Those aren't going away. Those will be up there.
Yeah, I've heard
as long as I can.
I've seen comments where people are like, I'm on my third listen through the whole. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. That's 3.
That's unhealthy, and I don't recommend it because there's like 1,000 episodes. That's too much.
Well, people go back and start from the beginning, and they're really quite a feather in your cap or complimentary for people that care that much about it. So.
I have moved two minds about it because I also think like some of those early episodes are quite naive and like I think they reflect a time when, especially me, I think definitely more so me than Jordan, but like I really did not think that all the norms could be shattered as much as they could. I thought that there would be some kind of backstop, and I feel in hindsight that some of those episodes, if people go back to the beginning, they're a little some stuff is a little embarrassing for me, but oh well.
No doubt.
It's
It's
a document of a time.
Who's not embarrassing when they're 8 weeks old, What a humiliating time of life. Pooping and peeing all over yourself. So cool. And also much love to Jordan. Obviously we want to support his next efforts. And is he doing YouTube stuff? Is he?
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel.
Cool.
You can just search Jordan Holmes and find that there.
Yeah. I'd like to have him on. Maybe we could talk about cults. I know he has some cult backgrounds, and I'm fascinated. So, all right, dude, love you so much. Maybe we'll have you on sooner than every year, or every couple months.
I think if that happened, we'd do a shorter episode. But 100%. It's always nice to talk to you. And I'm around, man.
If we did it more regular, it'd be like an hour check. Like we'd talk about MacGyver and the occasional bullshit politics. But yeah, not a 3-hour. Epic. This is our Christopher Nolan. Okay.
Yeah.
70 millimeter IMAX. Thanks everybody. Check you all out. Be well. Dan, don't hang up. Bye everybody.
Bye.
See ya.